I'm Rob Van Dam. The whole show.
All right, here we are. It's a Thursday, and it's one of a kind with RVD, a special episode. Happy to have with me here, per usual, Mr. Rob Van Dam. Katie Forbes is here as well, and we're happy to welcome Taz, the human suplex machine, and Lovey's here as well. Rob, I'll let you take things.
What's the door?
This is Lovey. This is Lovey, our little baby. We have two of them. Barbie's a little bit bigger. Sweetest little dogs. Taz, oh man, are you froze?
Ooh.
No, he's here.
Oh, I'm okay. Taz, I picture you being like a big Rottweiler dog kind of guy. He is froze.
He is froze. No.
Uh-oh.
Taz, if you can hear us, you can maybe try entering and exiting back in.
Buffering issues here, I think. I don't know if it's you guys or me. I'm not sure.
I think it might be you. So maybe if try logging out and logging back, coming back in, maybe that can sometimes help. But we'll see. Dang it. Well,
what's the common factor, the common denominator here? Because Dominator. What's the denominator? Because this happens like every week, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, with the let me remove the frame here for a second. Taz will be back. But I know Kid Cash, his computer just died, and then Sabu, when we had him on here, I think it just his phone died, right? So
yeah,
might just be lag issues here.
Speaking of Sabu, while we give Taz a minute to call back, I'm going to play this song.
Yeah, good idea.
One of my favorite songs that Sabu never really used, but that my friend Cushionator made for him. Check it out if you can hear it, which I think you should. Oh, let's start it over though. There's got to be beginning, right? Why does it start before he said?
Hey.
Oh, so we're up. So I guess I don't know if it was me or what. But
I think we're good now.
What happened?
I think we're good.
Well, here we go. It's like take two. Well, here we go.
Take two. Round two. Here we go.
Cool. So yeah, we didn't. You didn't miss nothing, Taz. I just played this Sabu song, but So what were we talking about? Anything yet?
Not yet. You're saying that Taz looked like a Rottweiler guy, though.
Yep.
Yeah. I just couldn't catch the name of your dog, Rob. You said it. He's cool looking. What's the name of the dog?
Lovey, like Thurston Howell the Third's wife, but she wasn't named after that. Katie liked the name, but Lovey like that. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, are you a big dog guy or no dog guy?
Well, growing up, I had Rottweilers. I had big dogs. Yeah, my dad always liked, but we don't have a dog right now. But no, if I get a dog, I'd want to get like a Frenchie, something like that. But no, right now, no dog.
Cool.
Yeah.
Frenchies are awesome.
All right. Well, I've been asked to do a lot of shows this week, and I wasn't ready to do it till now. To talk about Sabu. It's going to be rough. Taz, appreciate you joining us here, and a lot of the reason you're here is I'm hoping that I'll act tough in front of you and not bawl my eyes out.
No, it's all right. Hey, man, I did it on worldwide TV yesterday. I didn't, we did a tribute and on camera, and my game plan was to be hard as nails, tough guy, and all this shit, and then I don't know, man. It just happened, and I just got emotional, and I was embarrassed, and everybody's like, "No, it's fine, it's real," but still, I wanted, you want to keep that tough exterior, but I couldn't. So
yeah, well, you did great right away coming out with your piece that you said about him on social media. You're one of the first guys that I thought about telling, but I needed a break after just hitting two or three people,
I bet. Yeah. No,
I was impressed to see right away to see you come out with that, because I knew I wanted to, and I haven't had like so many people are coming out. One fan, I don't know if it's called a fan, some follower. on X, said, Rob, we want to hear from you. And I thought, like, how insensitive, like, what an asshole, but then I thought about it, and it's like, that's going to be, I mean, I know people do want to hear from me, so here it is.
Well, they do want to hear from you, obviously, but yet I get the asshole part, because that's a lot of entitlement. I understand fans want to hear from Rob Van Dam, Sabu's best friend. I mean, you guys were. I mean, I just told someone this yesterday at work. No matter when it was, no matter how many years we all worked together, when I would see Rob Van Dam, I would think of Sabu instantly. And if I saw Sabu, I would think of Rob Van Dam. That's how close you guys always were, as everybody knows. But those in ECW, we saw it. So there's always that connectivity. So I mean that respectfully towards you and obviously Sabu. So the bond.
I love how New Yorkers put in places like Saw. That was awesome. That's hard to fake. Let me see if I can do it. Like, we all saw it.
but Rob, you got to understand, I'm a product of the New York City public school system. This is not a good school system. See, my son went to much better schools here on Long Island, so he don't speak like me, thank God.
I don't know. I mean, we don't have kids. One thing I wonder, if they're not doing cursive anymore, are we doing away with signatures?
Yes, well, you just text it now. You don't have to really,
nothing.
Right?
You don't have to write anything anymore. But is there still such thing as a wet signature required for certain accounting and tax purposes?
I don't think so. Like, if you sign a contract with stuff, there's like that. I don't know what you call it. That little click, autograph, like
click
autograph
here,
gimmick.
we'll fake it.
Yeah. It's like the whole thing. It's just a big work,
Oh, yeah. That's amazing.
I know you can do the PDF where you sign a document like on the computer.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's it there. Mm-hmm.
Rob, so the first time, I'm sure you remember, you have a good memory, even though once in a while you dabble in weed and they say it's not good for your memory, but I don't know, your memory's pretty good.
WCW. Yeah.
WCW. That's right.
Yes. Yeah. You had the old, like, caveman looking like Taz.
Yeah. Tasmania. Crazy.
Yeah.
And I remember meeting you there. Yeah.
When were you there? Because that would have been 93, right?
No, I think before that, like 92.
Must have been the end of it. Yeah, I got there in December of 92, so it must have been the tail end of it, I guess.
Because you were there, William Regal was there.
Came together.
I think Raven might have been there too. Does that make sense, Rob? Was Raven there? Raven? Yeah, I think Raven. Yeah, Scotty Flamingo. Yeah. Raven.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. And I wrestled, I think, Joey Maggs, and I broke his nose with a clothesline by accident, and I didn't get a job.
Is that what happened?
That's a shoot. I didn't get it. He didn't duck. I said duck. So,
Just did happen.
I knew I was fucked once that happened. So
one time Joey Maggs told me at an indie show, and I think it was after I just started with ECW. I don't know if he knew I was part of them. Must have been around that time, because he said, I hate ECW. Hate it. And then, like, it was a few months later, he's up there looking for a job. I'm like, whoa, Joey. Yeah. What are you doing? You hate it here. I didn't say that. No. You told me in Cordell, Georgia. No. I didn't say that.
Yep, that sounds like one of the boys.
Yeah. I've been avoiding doing a lot of the other podcasts, but I've heard a lot of our friends and other people telling their versions or tributes towards Sabu. And I just gotta say, I appreciate all of them. I'm really touched to see how much he impacted so many people. I mean, he's all over my world, my universe, of course. But I feel like he's really gonna go down as one of the immortals. Like when Eddie Guerrero died, like, that affected people in such a way that Eddie, like, lives on like a Bruce Lee or like a Marilyn Monroe, and in such a way that fans still 20 years later are saying to me, like, I still can't believe Eddie's gone. And that's because they know the image, not necessarily the real person. We'll be talking about the real person, but that image too is something that we're all really proud of. And I'm really proud for Sabu. And thank everybody for what they're saying. Thank you, WWE, and the family also asked me to thank everyone for the outpour.
Nice.
Yeah. On top of that, I wanted to say thank you for WWE for opening up Monday Night Raw, and with the image of and mention of Sabu. That was great. What I got to tell you is that everyone is getting all the facts wrong, and it's just repeated out there, and everyone has picked it up. The only thing, and this is not a dig on WWE, I'm just telling you the truth, like I always do. They had Sabu's name, a picture of Sabu, his birth date, and where he was born. And the only thing they got right about that was Sabu in the picture.
Really? I see. I didn't know that. Well, correct it.
Nobody knows.
What's the correct info?
So first off, his name wasn't Terrence. That's something. It surprises me at a WWE level that they made all of those mistakes. And I'll start with Terrence. I liken that to the fact that like half of if anybody out there in the wrestling world believes that they know my middle name, it's wrong, probably, because it's always regurgitated that my middle name is Alexander, which it's not. Wikipedia used to put it there, and I never corrected it. I just didn't care. Why would I? And now it's every article I read. Robert Alexander Zatkowski, and not only that, but it's even in some contracts. WWE, if they sent me a contract with that, I would say, wait, these guys are kind of big. They're not using Wikipedia as their source.
Their source. Yeah, I don't know.
But first off, Sabu's name is Terry. He wasn't born in New York. He was born in Michigan, just like everybody believed him to be. They said Staten Island, New York, I believe.
Really? I didn't even realize it. Really?
Yeah, it made me think that I didn't know everything about him until I talked to his sister. I was like, wait, does he have like a part of his childhood, like a whole,
that you didn't know? Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is the one that everybody prints. Everybody knows that Sabu died at age 60, right?
Yeah.
No, he made it to 61.
Wow. I didn't know that, dude. Yeah. Wow.
Every single report says he was born December 12th, 1964. I don't know who started that, but everybody regurgitates the same information when in fact, Sabu's birthday was December 12th, 1963.
Wow. I didn't know that. Holy
Didn't
cow.
know that either.
Those are pretty important things that, Yeah, I wasn't aware of any of that. I learned something. I did not know that. Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know where everybody gets their information, and then they consider themselves, journalists or anyway.
Experts,
I'm not trying to bury anybody. I mean, I know how BS gets spread, but from some of the higher ups, they'll be surprised to learn that they've printed misinformation, which I don't think, some people care. Most people care. And don't want anyway, so there's that. What else? Let's see. His birth date, his name, where he was born. I think it was just that in the picture. So there's that. Now, holy crap! All the heat that's gone to Joey Janela and GCW.
Right? Yeah.
Ridiculous.
I know it's heavy. I mean, I obviously wasn't at the show, so I don't know what happened or what happened afterwards. But I know you and I text on the side. I was just trying to gather some information and talking to you privately, Rob. But yeah, I mean, a lot of heat.
And what happened when Taz and I talked? Taz said, have you heard all the talk about GCW? Or I don't know if you said GCW. I'm paraphrasing, but whatever you said, I knew what you were talking about. And I said, it's ridiculous. And you were fired up. You were like so pissed. And that's how they've got everybody. Like there's so many people. I've read comments from social media followers that say GCW should be arrested on manslaughter. Regardless of the cause of death 3 weeks later, Like,
Right.
thank God these people aren't in control of actually making real decisions, you know?
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, no, you're right.
And let me
I
call
guess.
Dutchman. I want to
Josh,
call
go.
Dutchman out here, okay? I enjoy listening to Dutch's podcast. What I heard him say kind of changed my opinion on how much to trust good old Dutch.
What do you say?
Because so he's talking about Kratom, and he's like, well, yeah. And James, the bloke, even says, "I know you're going to talk about that's a horrible English accent."
Yeah, that was.
I thought it was perfect, Rob.
Let me try not trying.
Just
It's Belgium. James says, you're going to be talking about Kratom in a minute. So it's like, oh, okay, maybe he's an expert or knows a lot about it. And then Dutch Mantel goes on to say, Kratom is a horrible, horrible drug. It's worse than heroin. And then he goes on to say, well, I don't know how you take it. And then James is like, yeah, how do you administer the Kratom? I don't think you smoke it, he says. Listen, Dutch, you know nothing about Kratom. Why would you even say that? And it helps so many people. And as my regular listeners know, I'm an advocate for Kratom. Kratom, and let me just tell, like I told you, Taz, tell anybody listening, Kratom, and this is, by the way, in case you missed out on the hype, the gossip, Joey Janela had horrible timing when he put out this post about what his day was like setting up for the match or whatever. And he talks about Sabu being hurt. Big surprise. If he literally couldn't walk and his feet are bleeding, that's fucked up. But regardless of that, it says in there somewhere that Sabu was got some Kratom, and then so he could make it through the match. The way Joey puts it, he says he was on another fucking planet. I don't like that he put that. I really doubt that that's true, but I've had people say it about me. In fact, I'm gonna administer some Kratom. Woo! Did you know Rick has his own Kratom? You didn't even know that, huh? Yeah.
Wild man.
To show you how dangerous it is. But anyway, so Joey's getting a bunch of heat. GCW is getting a bunch of heat. Everyone is saying, man, they should, man, fuck that. I can't believe I ever supported them, man. They killed Sabu. First off, they didn't give him the Kratom. It was his own people. And I'll tell you what, for sure, Sabu had some Kratom, but he eats it every day. Guess what? I usually eat it every day. Katie eats it often, and I don't eat it every single day. That's why I know I'm not addicted to it. Sometimes I'll be like, hey, I haven't had Kratom in a couple of days. That would make me feel good. It's good for blocking pain, sleeping. It's great for and anxieties. It's a plant that comes from the coffee plant family, and they dry up the leaves, grind them up into a powder. And then you can put the powders in a capsule, in a drink, and gummies, or you just eat the powder. Rob,
is it like I'm sure you've taken creatine over the years. Is it like tasteless when you put it in water? Does it taste like anything? Is it like creatine where it's just a powder?
Kind of the opposite, bro. It tastes horrible.
Yeah, I remember you saying that.
It tastes really, really bad. So I've been taking capsules lately because it's convenient, because I got broken heels and can't really move around that much. So I'm at the mercy of whatever's I can reach. But when I would take the powder, I would fill my mouth with water first and then put this in and go gulp, and then immediately rinse it down and be like, woo.
Yeah,
it really tastes bad. But they have refined it to make like some that taste like Kool-Aid. Like there's some drinks or shots. For sure, they have a little sugar in them, but then that makes it easier to take down.
For the taste. Yeah, exactly.
So the Kratom, when you take it, it works on your opiate sensors in your brain. And a lot of my friends have been able to quit taking opiates and take Kratom. A lot of followers have told me and thanked me for talking about Kratom because they've done the same thing. Can you get addicted to Kratom? You can get addicted to fucking chocolate. If you're a person, if you're a person that's going to be addicted to stuff, then stay away from everything? Or the answer to that is sure, it's possible. Can you take too much? Sure. But now people talk about it getting you high. I got to tell you, I've been taking it for, I don't know, 5 years or so. I've gotten high twice off of it. Both times were on purpose because I wanted to test the limits. The first time I took way, way, way too much. Sabu had introduced it to me. This is a funny story if people know about kratom and know. But anyway, I got the powder, and Sabu told me to take 3 ounces, and he meant 3 grams.
Oh God.
Oh, wow.
Big difference.
Quite the jump.
Big difference.
It's a huge difference. Yeah.
I ended up filling a coffee cup up, basically.
Holy shit.
Oh, my God.
Dude, it was the worst experience. Like, at first, I was like, yeah, okay, I feel good. Then I was like, hey, and then after a while, I was like, whoa. And I was like, I was drunk and felt like acid at the same time. And it was not hallucinating, but I couldn't see right. And it was just, it was horrible, horrible. That happened only the very, very first time that I ever took. I've never, ever come anywhere close to that. And there was only one other time that I took a mega dose to see where I would start feeling it, because everyone talks about it getting you high. Everyone reacts to drugs differently, all drugs. Sure. But for me, I did not get that at all. So one time I probably took maybe like 30 grams of it. And then I was like, okay, I get it. I guess I could describe this as a high, and that was it. That's my personal experiences. Every other time, it's just like after I take it, I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot I was pissed that my fucking feet were hurting or my back or whatever.
Yeah.
Great for pain, way better than weed, in my opinion, and great for sleep. And so for Dutch, that wants to say that it's like heroin. And by the way, it's not recognized by the Controlled Drug, the List of Controlled Substances Act. It's not. The government does want to control it. It is prohibited in certain areas, around the country. But overall, you can get it online. You can get it anywhere that you can buy pipes or kratom. They call them head shops. But what I want to do, if you guys at home watching don't mind setting your clocks for me, this right here is 500 milligrams, right? And it says that a serving is 4 capsules. Okay, one to 4 capsules. Okay, so I want you guys to set your clock, and I'm gonna in Dutch. Set your clock, Dutch. set your fucking Flintstones bird with a shadow ass watch.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's just
Stiff City right there. Stiff City.
How many is that?
Flintstones Jones.
Oh yeah, exactly. Well said, Dom.
Thank you.
Where'd they go? Okay, let me get one more. Okay, I don't know how to show you how many I got without it spilling. But I have a handful here of oh god damn it, I'm so close. You
got it. It's there.
Okay. Boom. Okay. Anyway, it says a serving is 4. So I'm gonna take 8, a double serving right now. I want everyone. Yeah, I want everyone that sees me even act any different to shout out and say, Rob's fucked up. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
I gotta say, I didn't expect this.
No.
All right.
Well, you know what, Taz? You're not going to notice anything. I do this.
I know. I believe you, bro. We talked about this. I know. I totally believe you. I tell you what. I'm just impressed you could take 8 tablets of anything. Fuck that.
Dude,
would
right?
kill my throat. It's horrible.
Dude, that would be fucked. My mouth would be all fucked up.
I'm telling you.
More. All right. So 3 times the recommended dose of something that's worse than heroin. Holy shit. RVD is out of his mind. Somebody call the suicide hotline.
Oh my God.
Anyway, I'm making a point, but I'm also educating. So, man,
All right.
So anyway, There's been a lot of talk about it, about the kratom, and I'm an advocate for it. I always have been, and it had nothing to do with Sabu dying 3 weeks later. Y'all are basic thinkers, and you need to put a little extra thought into the whole thing. And you don't know, and Dutch, you don't know anything about kratom. And where did you get that information that it's worse than heroin? He sounds like Harry Anslinger in 1937 telling people that marijuana is the most dangerous drug and it makes you turn violent and chop your family up with a battle axe and a chainsaw. Did they have chainsaws back then in the 30s?
Oh, sure.
I think they did. Yeah, they had
Yeah.
something. They definitely had battle axes. That's
Battle axe is definitely over there. Definitely over there.
So as far as setting the record straight goes on that, people are saying shame on GCW for allowing a 60-year-old to get in the ring and have a match like that. And I can tell you, he's my closest dude friend, closest person to me next to Katie Forbes right here all ways. Yeah. And I can tell you that he was 61 and he wanted that. He wanted that for a long time. In fact, Joe Clark, if you're listening, brother, Joe Clark, we've had him on this show before. Joe Clark and I made my documentary on concussions called Headstrong, which is on Amazon. He'd been working with Sabu for a long time, several months on filming a documentary. And I just a few weeks ago, they were over here. Sabu and I were working out in my gym and hanging out in my sauna.
Riding bikes.
Yeah, that was even a different time. There's been so many days I put in, and I can't wait to see the footage that he has now. And of course, the ending is definitely going to be a little different than they planned on. But he was training. He was wanting to have this big retirement match so much that when it got down to it, he knew that he had more in him, One thing that he said when I saw him after his match with Joey Janela, he said, I got one more match in me. If you're still interested in doing that barbed wire match, I'm interested.
It sounds like him.
That's how.
Because I had talked to him before about being the guy that's his last opponent, which a lot of people would think easy. Of course you're going to do that, but he said, no, that's cheating. Just like he thinks two brothers wrestling each other is cheating because from his perspective, because they grew up, and they know each other too well, and so that's what he said about me just working him until I mentioned I've never had a barbed wire match. That would be something special, but I really didn't want to do a barbed wire match. I really didn't. He could have maybe talked me into it if it was really going to be his last, because I would have given anything to him and for him, and I did always. And so because of that, it could have happened. It's not my kind of match, as the fans will tell you, that all of a sudden think I'm anti-ECW because I don't like the garbage death matches.
Well, we're the same. I'm the same as you. I mean, I didn't do it.
Fans are surprised. Stuff. Oh, you're breaking hearts right now. You don't even know it.
Oh, stop. Yeah, that's crazy, right? I mean, dude, what made ECW so special was it was a potpourri of all different styles, and we kind of, it's the ice cream shop analogy. You can't have an ice cream shop, right, which is vanilla. If you're going to go out of business, you need a bunch of different flavors, and that's what we were. So you had a lot of different styles that clicked. It all clicked, and Paul deserves a lot of credit because he knew how to keep a lot of us in the right lanes. In my opinion, that's how I looked at it back then.
Yeah, what's funny is you said you looked at it like that back then. I feel like I had to grow up to see that. Like back then, I feel like I had such a competitive state of mind that I felt like me and Sabu's style in our camp and our way was just the right way, and everyone else was just someone to laugh at. And it wasn't really until I grew up and got out of that competitive state of mind that I could appreciate what you said, everybody's flavor and everyone bringing what they brought to the show. And I'm like, I get it now. I get why the fans liked those people. And at the time, me and Sabu were like, fuck them, because that's how he taught me.
I know. You ain't got to tell me. I've heard it many times.
I know.
Many times.
What's funny is, shout out to Nerd Bar Johnny. He said, I was talking to him about, I think Sabu would be touched. He'd be impressed to know, how many people he's really touched and how many people are pouring their hearts out and giving a lot of love. And he said, yeah, but there'd be several of them Sabu would say, fuck that guy.
I might be one of them.
No, you definitely wouldn't be. You wouldn't be. And that's the thing about the relationship that we had back in ECW was that Sabu spent like all day either talking about you, either imitating your voice or your accent or something that you said, but I could tell behind it that he must have had so much respect for you to do that. It wasn't, it was never like, hey, he's a piece of shit. It was more like, this is the way that the Taz is handling being in the position that we're in, and it's more like that. Yeah.
I know, and dude, like I think way back, like when I had my podcast and you were on, we talked about this. I don't remember the details, but back then, I handled myself incorrectly in the locker room. I was immature, I know, but I took myself too serious, and I didn't even think about it. But as I got older, I realized what I did wrong, and
that was your flavor.
What's that?
That was your flavor that you brought.
It was my flavor, piss everyone off. But and then you and Sabu, you guys walk in the locker room and everyone loved you guys. Like everybody loved you. Like no one ever talked shit about you. Everybody loved and respected you guys. And then I came in, it was like a dark cloud of fucking rain. Oh God, here's Taz. Like miserable. Damn. So
that's hilarious.
Man, but
something I've learned about too, and like my interaction with Sabu and everything, and Rob, I've heard you say it and other people say it too, is like Sabu was somebody that was guarded at first, but he'd open up to you like once he got to know you a little bit better. Did you get that vibe initially, Taz, from him and stuff like that when you first interacted with him?
But Sabu, that's kind of no, and I'll tell you why. I know what you mean, Dom, and you're not wrong. But with me, it was different because the first time we met was it was a quick meeting. It was on a show in Minneapolis. A bunch of guys were on. Rob, I don't know if you were on that show.
No.
This is before ECW. I know, I believe Jerry Lynn was on it. Sean Waltman, Candido, I think, Sabu, myself. I can't remember who else. I'm drawing a blank right now. But anyway, and then a year or so went by, and then I got a call from Paul Heyman, which I only met Paul once before. I didn't really know Paul. And he said, hey, have you ever heard of this guy, Sabu? And I said, yeah, actually, I met him a while back, at a show in Minneapolis. He goes, well, I'm bringing him into ECW. And at the time, Todd Gordon owned ECW, and Paul took the book like Eddie Gilbert was having issues, and that's what everyone knows the story. And then Paul said, I want to bring this guy in, a Sabu guy, and I'm paraphrasing, but I want to push the hell out of him and all this stuff. I'm like, that's awesome. I go, all I cared about was how many dates I could get, because I needed money. I had no money. I'm like, how many dates can I get? He goes, well, I can only guarantee you one, and you got to put him over. I said, I don't care about putting him over. That's fine. But he's got this wild style. I don't care. That's fine. No problem. I just needed the money. I didn't give a shit what style anybody had. I needed to work, So I go to Philly, and then Sabu comes in, and he was going to work with me. I knew I was going to work with him, but it was about him. It wasn't about me. He was going to get this big push, and he was so pissed about the Hannibal Lecter gimmick. He had to be on the gurney, and he was at Paul. He didn't want to do this. He was going berserk, right? I hardly knew this guy, but the way he was getting was making me laugh. I didn't want to laugh at him because he had his sense of humor, and like even when he's mad, he's funny. Like it's hard to explain. Rob knows what I mean, and it's like, so I didn't have that, Dom, that type of weird interaction because we had to go over a match.
Sure.
And when you go over a match, it's a little bit different. I just figured out he's going to beat me in 5 minutes. They're doing packages on him, and he's like, no. He said, dude, I want to see you get a job. He came up with spots to shine me up, and like because of him being so gracious, he let me shine when I was the guy that was supposed to just put him over. But he got me over huge, and the rest is history as far as that goes. So, he was, you could just tell his demeanor in the locker room, even day one. I had my hands up with everybody. I didn't know anyone. I was just like really insane, like crazy guy. And he was the complete opposite. You know what I mean? And we were both brand new in this locker room. And he instantly connected with the boys where here I am. I'm ready to fight everybody, like nuts.
Sure.
So,
Yeah.
but we were complete opposites in that regard, but we connected in the ring. And I'm like, I knew right away, man, we have some chemistry, I think. And I was trying to keep up with him, to be honest with you, because he was his motor was crazy, like it was not easy. And I'm like, God damn, so yeah, I can go on and on about that, but I won't. But anyway, so yeah, no, I didn't have that kind of interaction with him initially because, like I said, we're going over a match,
Sure. Right. Different kind of dynamic at that juncture.
It was, yeah, it was, yeah.
Rob, I guess what I wanted to follow, I watched the Sheik Dark Side of the Ring, and I thought it was amazing. And like, really,
I have not watched it yet. I need to watch it, and I'll probably watch it tomorrow. Yes,
you'll really like it, Taz. You'll like it a lot. It was really well done. But I guess what I learned.
This isn't a spoiler, but it's just a heads up, Taz. You're gonna cry at the end.
Oh my God! Oh. Yeah,
he does a little like almost like foreshadowing. And then and besides that, what's amazing is that the Sheik and him had like basically the same story.
Wow, right. That's wild.
Same path, same story. It's amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing. Yeah.
Well, Rob, what I was going to ask you too was like, I never obviously met the Sheik, and I didn't know anything about him, but like from what I garnered from the documentary a little bit, did you see a lot of personality in Sabu that you saw in the Sheik as well? Like,
of course,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Sheik was Sabu's idol,
right?
And it would take a long time, like you mentioned, for him to show a little hole in his veneer from life, whatever.
Yeah.
It was on purpose, though. Totally. Like he was emulating Sheik, and Sheik would always be like snappy and grumpy on the outside, but then he always maintained a sense of humor on the inside. Sabu like didn't take himself seriously, but at the same time, he didn't want to be someone that was real easy to know that fans could just come up to and like put their arm around him and say, "Hey, can we get a picture?" He didn't want to be like that. I remember when we were in Japan, he and I one time, and we were taking pictures with a line of fans, and after every picture, Sabu would kick him in the ass. Just to be him and be like, "Now get out of here." every one of them, they loved it.
Yeah. Dude, that's fantastic.
That's funny.
Let's I'll take a couple super chats here from people. Just so you guys know too, if you're in the chats or anything, just keep it to Sabu questions. Well, I'll be happy to acknowledge you if you do give a super chat, but if you ask something that's kind of out of the realm for this week, well, we'll address it at another time. But
Seth, get something in before. Oh, we got Seth. Hold on a second, Seth. This is the guy that does the song at the beginning that I know you were dancing to, Taz. I saw.
It was. Is it the Rasta?
The Rasta, yes,
the Rasta gimmick. I love that. I was definitely dancing, bro. Yeah.
Yeah, that's this guy we're gonna talk. But I just don't want to forget to say this. And I'm not trying to bury you, Mr. Kenny Casanova, the guy that wrote Sabu's book, people are going to remember Sabu from all these inaccuracies. And those of us that really knew him could find some offense with that. Now, I know that Kenny took time, interviewed Sabu, but he definitely didn't get to know him, didn't get his speech patterns down. I saw a video of him on Hannibal's show.
Mm-hmm.
First off, oh God, okay, that's second off. Hold on a second. We're gonna get back to. I don't want to forget this. I was talking about all the inaccuracies out there, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
There's more, but wait, there's more. So first off, they're talking this one thing. I think it might have been. I don't know if it was old because everyone's releasing shit about Sabu now. So I think it was old. I think it was. Anyway, I think it was Jim Cornette's show, and they were talking about Sabu's book. And on the end, he goes through and he buries a bunch of people on the final words. I understand Sabu wanted Kenny to retract that. I don't know at what stage, but I guess he didn't. But it's all like to so and so. Fuck you. I didn't like working with you. You know, it's like, you know, like sometimes some of them I'm like, yeah, I could see Sabu saying that, right? And then on one of them, whoever he's talking about, to so and so, I'll reserve saying fuck you, but I'll put it this way: you, sir, I could do without. Does anybody that knows Sabu think that he talked like that?
No,
Never,
right?
never, ever. No,
That's the guy
way.
that wrote.
Yeah.
That's the guy that wrote his book. So people are remembering him for that. And that's what he gets left behind. Personally, I tried to read Sabu's book, and you'll like this, Dom, because we talk about this word every week.
Right.
In the foreword from me, he's got me quoted as saying, we're talking about training, you know, in the ring, and he's got me quoted as saying, we literally beat the shit out of each other until we were dead every single day.
Wow.
I really, that right then I knew like what the book was going to be about. I knew that I couldn't. I mean, hopefully he caught the pathway that was Sabu's life and the adventures and the choices he made. I really don't know because I couldn't read it and imagine that Sabu was saying any of it. So, also I saw a video today. It said Sabu caused a death. Same guy, Kenny Casanova.
Really?
Yeah, and I know Kenny doesn't know that what's his ass Hannibal. He doesn't know Hannibal's gonna.
Rob, I saw that. I didn't know who the guy was. I saw the clip you're talking. Sorry to interrupt you, but I saw the clip you're talking about actually today. I knew the Hannibal guy, but I didn't know who the other guy's name was. He's kind of like a bald-headed guy. That's the Casanova guy, I guess. That's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And he said the cause of death. Yeah, he said he had a baseball cap on. I remember.
Yeah, and so I know, like, when you do these interviews, even my own, I don't know what's going to be cut out and then have a headline on it, you know? Like, I hated The Rock's punches. What? Like, they don't want to hear me talking about I hated mine worse. They just want to say, who the fuck are you? You're
of course.
But having that in mind, I watched it, and Kenny Casanova says, well, it turns out that he talked to
Sabu's sister
Paulina, and also Jeannie's brother. I'm trying to think of his name.
Yeah, he did say that. He did.
Okay, yeah, he says that, and then he says, so it turns out that it was cardiac arrest.
Right, that's what he said.
I can tell you right now, and this is me, I talk to Paulina several times a day. I talked to the coroner investigator yesterday. They are not and have not released the cause of death yet. 100%. This is 100% fact. I'm 100% certain.
Mm-hmm.
And check this out. Taz, you remember he told me?
Yeah, of course I do. Yeah.
Guess who's got the authority to make decisions?
He does, I guess.
In Japan. Like, she doesn't want nothing to do with him or that life anymore. They never got the official divorce.
Yeah.
So we need her signature for several things. And I don't want to get too personal on what the holdup is, but it's everything. And part of that is the cause of death.
Wow.
Wow.
And I have gotten reached her through a mutual friend, and she doesn't want nothing to do with this, but trying to get her to understand that in the meantime, without her signature, everything is held up. Matter of fact, I'm going to check
Wow.
to see if we heard any update, because
I assume she's back in Japan. I would assume. I guess that's where she's back. Not in the States. She's in Japan. I guess. Right.
yes, sir.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
Man.
Wow.
Wild stuff. Wild stuff.
So, if you want to go back to Seth now, I'm just trying to. Anyone watching this is going to have a complete different story than people watching everyone else's shows, just because there's so much misinformation out there, and people are all spreading it.
People wanting to jump to conclusions and making all their own assessments just based on what they see on.
And when it comes to creative, like, I get where you want to put your finger on something. You want to have an excuse when you're hurt. When you're hurt, something that you care about and love is ripped out of your life. Like, you want to be able to say,
"This is the reason
I'm suing that person," or whatever.
Yeah.
You know. And in reality, though, you know, Sabu lived by his own rules, died by his own rules, and there's not going to be anybody really here to blame.
No, that's it too. All right, summertime is almost here, and you want to look good for that summertime, don't you? Boys of Summer, the Ataris, the Don Henley. That's another song. Yes. Well, let's look perfect with the perfect jean. Why not? And I tell you what, I am not lying when I say this. This is 100% the truth. I am not yanking your chain here. The perfect jean is my favorite pair of jeans that I own. I got the Joker Blue, and they're right here, baby. Boom. I'm a size 28-30. You can see the tag right here. Boom. Slim fit. The Joker Blue. They're awesome. I wear them anytime I do a new wash. They are the first pair of jeans I go to, and for good reason. They fit me great. They form fitting. They stretch to your body. And yeah, there's plenty of options that you can do when you go to theperfectjean.nyc. And per usual, like every podcast does, we got a special deal for our listeners. That is, it's finally time to stop crushing your balls in uncomfortable jeans by going to theperfectjean.nyc. Our listeners get 15% off your first order, plus free shipping, free returns, and free exchanges when you use code RVD15 at checkout. That's 15% off your new customers at theperfectjean.nyc with promo code RVD15. After you purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them that we sent you. Hey, fuck your khakis and get the perfect jean. And like, I was at the last match too, and then I saw him the day after, and he was talking about it, like he was just joking around about it, and like, yeah, that spot wasn't supposed to happen, all this shit was out of whack, and all this kind of stuff, and you know, he was Sabu.
And when you look back at it, you can see in the pictures now he was a little bloated.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wrestlers over the years have, like, when a lot of our friends have dropped dead, I've heard that referred to before. I've heard the talk where they say, you know what, I noticed he was getting that bloat on him that other guys get before they die, and then he died. Looking back, I can see that on Sabu. So he had some signs. It wasn't something like he just one time fucked up and, you know, mixed two wrong things or somebody gave him. It wasn't like that. He had something going on with him. And I remember him telling me that he had something in his stomach that, you know, they sounded bad. And I was like, dude, you know, you should get that checked out. And he gave the answer that, no, I'd rather not know. I'm scared to find out. So this is worth bringing up on this platform to people that are listening that might share that. I don't think that's a smart way to be. I get it. You know, I get it. I used to be like, the first time when I was super young, like 21, 22, something like that. I remember, and AIDS was really popular, you know, and I got my first AIDS test. I thought the same thing, like, no, I don't want to know, you know. And it's so stupid because then you go around spreading it and killing more people if you do have it. And I did get tested, and I remember I was so afraid because all the hype had me believing, like, well, for sure I got it. I've done everything they talk about that you're not supposed to do. In the end, I would recommend, getting yourself checked out anytime you have reason to believe that there's something going on inside you. Your body has a way of telling you and letting you know.
And because if you cut it off at the pass, it could, to your point, you're right, Rob, because if you don't bury your head in the sand and you get ahead of it, you might be able to save your own life if you catch whatever it might be early enough.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
What's that got to say?
Sabu's bald in this match. I just wanted to interrupt for a second. That literally, he's bald in this match. I've never seen him bald.
Oh yeah,
right.
yeah.
Yeah,
it's crazy to see him bald. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
yeah.
He gave his hair to a girl that was lost her hair from chemotherapy treatments.
Oh my
Wow.
God.
I did not know that. And Rob, I think that's something cool, and Dom and Katie, to bring up about Sabu, because I don't think enough people realize or talk about how caring, like good-hearted this guy was behind the scenes. Like, he literally would take the shirt off his back to give it to someone. Like, he's, for fans out there watching, or maybe younger wrestlers or wrestlers who didn't know Sabu, like, hypothetically, if there's a bunch of the boys just had a show and they go to a Cracker Barrel, and everybody's hanging out in the same place eating, he'd find a waitress and say, "Give me the check. I'm paying for everybody." I mean, that was Sabu. He just was a super good-hearted guy. Besides being very funny, but he was very giving. I didn't know that about his hair, Rob. I did not know that.
No, I didn't either.
Yeah, Sabu was the most generous person I'd ever met. He was overly generous and didn't know how to keep his own money. And a lot of the word online people are talking about is that he didn't have the life he deserved. I agree with that. He should have been a millionaire several times over, should be acknowledged in a lot more prestigious way than he ever was. When it comes to his money, unfortunately, he wanted to give it all away. He was always like that. When we were in Memphis, USWA in '91, I remember at a gas station, like we were all chipping in, our money 4 ways to get gas. And he gave $10 to this homeless guy that was begging for money. And we were like, "Dude, why'd you do that? We were just talking. You were just saying you only have $20. He was like, "Yeah, but he didn't have anything."
Wow.
Yeah, that's him. That's him.
Exactly. That's how we saw it. Yeah, he gave one of my first shows. I brought my friend Andy, my fake little brother Andy, with me to the show, and afterwards, like he paid for his meal along with everyone else's, and we were like, no, I mean, his mom actually gave him money so he could come with us tonight. That's
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
And he's like, no, I got it. And like, why would you don't got to pay for his? I brought him. I feel bad. And he goes, no, he didn't make any money tonight. I did. So he always liked the idea of everyone being together for each other. He liked, if he could have his way back in the ECW days, he would rather that a bunch of wrestlers all stayed in his room than stay in their rooms. Yeah, he liked to hang out. Besides helping them, he liked being in the business. He loved the business.
The camaraderie, the brotherhood.
Loved it. Yeah.
Absolutely. No, that's what was a neat thing about him. You could tell, and you see the reception back online and everything like that, and how many people said how kind he was and generous he was. Rob, I saw you liked something on Instagram or something too. Where was it? Did he help two fans get into pay for their tickets or something like that? Or
I saw that story. I didn't know that story.
Okay.
It totally sounds like him.
Yeah,
it does.
And I used to, of course, I tried to help him. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And of course, I've reached in and had to, and he's cost me, of course, a lot of times. I mean, if you. Yeah, here's to if you never seen Sabu mad, or you've never thought Sabu was going to die, then you really didn't know him. So let me just say that.
He's pretty heavy.
He may be gone now, but the way I see it, Grim Reaper versus Sabu was really like 3,499 for Sabu against one time for Grim Reaper. So if you look at the big picture, I really think Sabu kicked his ass. There's been so many times, and even on the documentary, boom, he gets shot in the fucking mouth.
Crazy.
Could have died there. Got that bacteria in his leg. Could have died there.
Yeah.
Those are just two quick ones, and I bet I could come up with more ways than there were attempts on killing Fidel Castro, and no one probably gets that very few, but so many. I mean, I pulled him out of the swimming pool when he was could have. He didn't even know how to swim, right? And this was in Asoma days too, which made it even harder. But he would stand with his back to the pool on the edge, and he would jump backwards and catch himself with his fingers on the side to get wet and just pull himself right back out so he could lay in the sun. Sometimes his fingers would slip, and he didn't have a plan B.
Wow.
I would jump in there and grab him, and then we'd have a funny story afterwards, you know.
Yeah,
but,
of course. Yeah.
Times that's happened, but I can't remember what we were talking about before. But he was so generous and always was, and man, he would have. Well, here, let me go to another inaccuracy, and then we'll go to Seth.
Okay.
Don't know if it's an inaccuracy or just a different version of the story. I got mine from Sabu. But I've heard this story told several times that he went to WCW and that he had a job there, but that he wanted time to call his lawyer and his mom. And then during that time, they rescinded the offer, as I'm hearing, because Paul sent them the notice to desist. Deceased. I'm sorry. Whatever, because they were having. Thank you. Yeah, they were having this issue back then. I don't know if that's true or not, but what I do know is the way that Sabu has always told me the story, and told anyone else that I've heard, was that while he was there, Kevin Sullivan. Well, first off, just being Sabu the way he is, he had the tryout match.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Sabu was, or Kevin Sullivan was telling him, you know, like, what do you want me to tell him you want for this? And Sabu, he's always, you don't got to pay me nothing. Just give me one time to show what I got, and then I will talk money after that. He always thought that way, and I couldn't shake him from that way of thinking. Yeah. I got to take advantage of so many times. But anyway, this was one of those where, you know, they were like, they would have given him whatever, you know, let's just say they would have given him $4,000. He took 200. Those aren't the exact numbers, but it was something to where he was like, I don't care. I don't care what the first time's free. You don't have to pay me. And there, we got to pay you. Did the match. The way Sabu tells it, he got offered the contract. He said that his mom needed him. And he said he dropped everything and went home and went to Michigan without even telling anybody. And he said that's why he lost that contract. Now, they could both be true and chronologically have happened in the order it would take for that to fall out. I don't know. But I just know Sabu's told me that several times. Like his mom, he called home to his mom, and I don't know what the deal was, but he felt like, oh my God, my mom needs me, dropped everything, went to the airport, and that is Sabu.
Yeah, that's definitely, I know he was very close with his mom, so that seems on brand. That seems accurate. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So Rob, this was when like in 2000 when he was going to go to WCW, or like, I think it was like later on. I guess so.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was probably 2000 because I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to remember the timeline of it.
Yeah.
When I left, that was January 2000.
Right. You showed up at Royal Rumble.
Yeah. Now, but Sabu, was he already doing the WCW thing? I can't remember now. To tell you the truth, I don't remember.
Yeah. So okay, well, yeah, it's because there was a lot of talk about that online, and you know, a lot of that
and Paul was doing that. Sabu was both banned from ECW or suspended, however you want to look at it, and at the same time couldn't work for anybody else. Paul was sending them these legal notices that he had Sabu obligated under contract, and it was a really ugly time period. And I can't say that I knew all the details. I hated it. I wanted Paul to stop doing it. It wasn't my position, obviously. and I missed him being there, of course. You know what I
Sure.
mean?
Yeah.
I got a lot of me time as far as ascending the ladder to success there while he was gone. But I would have much rather have had him there, and I hated what was happening to him. Like I felt like Paul was trying to starve him out, but I think that Paul would have rather had the outcome, not Sabu starve and die, but Sabu give in to whatever Paul wanted, which I don't know what that was. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Before I get to Seth real quick, because I had to scroll way up for this one, but this is a good question from Maddie here. For both you guys, what is some advice Sabu gives that sticks with you? R.I.P. Is there any advice, Taz, that Sabu really, or maybe something that he just led by example in certain ways that you kind of learned from or garnered from?
Yeah, I would say more of like his as far as a competitor in the ring, he was, like I stated earlier, kind of his motor, his work ethic, his when you had to wrestle Rob or Sabu, they, even though a lot of people think they had the same style, in my opinion, wrestling both those guys a lot, they were a little bit different style. Where Rob, you were, and this is not an insult on Sabu, it's just, he was, Sabu wanted to come off reckless, but he was always in control.
Yeah.
It was a work, and it took me a while to learn that, to be honest. Where Rob was more structured. Like I'm talking about nuts and bolts of being a wrestler. A lot of fans think they know, they don't know. All guys that have whatever dirt sheets or podcasts, and they think they're experts on the business. You're not a fucking expert until you lace them up and you put some reps in and really work with guys. So there's different styles that you got to adapt to when you work with someone. So Sabu, I learned, like, okay, he comes off very reckless, but he's not. And it took me a little while to get used to working with him like that, but I loved it. It was fun. You know what I mean? It was different.
Yeah.
Where Rob, you just had to watch it and get your nose kicked off your face. So, or that one time where Rob kicked me in the throat, this was fun, and my voice disappeared. Just gone. My voice was just gone. I got out of the fucking ring.
Out of you.
You kicked me right in the throat. You did the high arc kick, bro. It was a high arc kick. You know what I'm talking about. and he caught me right here, and I probably should have turned, and I didn't. Like a tough guy, I just took it, and I just powdered. I'm like, well, fuck, I can't. I couldn't. And the ref came out. I'm like, dude, I can't even talk. And
yeah, sorry, dude.
No, it didn't even hurt. It was weird. It didn't hurt. It just, like, it was scary because I couldn't talk. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You know what? You know what's crazy? Is thinking back, I started in ECW in '96. I'm literally 5.5 years out of high school.
That's
like
crazy.
We were so fucking young, and to think back,
yeah.
And men in their 20s, if you want to call them men, they don't know that. They don't know that they're still babies. They think they know everything, and they're actually brought up to think that we want to be them. Like, shut your old ass up. Like, I would never want to be a 20-year-old again.
No,
No,
right?
me neither. No, I agree. I didn't know you started in '96. I thought you started before that in
No,
ECW.
in ECW, I mean.
I know. I thought you started. I don't know why I thought you started
January,
in ECW.
Yeah, January '96 with Axel Rotten, and it was like the last show of the battalion
in Queens.
That was I think my first weekend there too. But
yeah.
But anyway, when I met Sabu and we would train, he taught me the art of wrestling, and I taught him how to do flips and stuff. And so he didn't have that before. I remember him standing on the top rope forever and me saying, just do it. Just do it. And I'm like trying to get to and then, like Taz said, his flips were more, I think you called them ugly. Isn't that what you said? No.
No.
He did. No, that was, he wanted.
It was a work. It was a gimmick. He would botch shit on purpose. He would botch shit all the time on purpose. Yeah,
we've talked about that. And then Meltzer would write about it, and then people would think,
they did all so funny.
Got flaws. Yeah, it's crazy.
Taz, it's so funny that you said that though. Like he's reckless, but he was like deliberate too at the same time.
Oh yeah,
like
yeah.
I noticed that just like watching some just clips of him and stuff like that. I think it was the one where he like leg dropped John Cena to the on the outside and stuff like that. Like it looked like just insane, but you could tell like just by his body language that he knew what he was doing. Like
he did, and you know what he did so well too. Like he'd hit you with a dive. Now, I never was a dive guy. I was a base guy. So guys were trusting me to catch them. So I had to catch them. But when you're a base guy and you catch, it sucks. It's a worse shit going. Like I wasn't an Olay guy where it's like, here he comes. Let me get out of the way. Especially catching Rob because he was such big quads and glutes and hamstrings, big ass, powerful lower body. And I knew, okay, well, Rob's going to come in hot. So boom, here we go. And he but he was trusting me to catch him. You know, I had to catch him. Same with Sabu. Where Sabu, though, he would outsell you. He'd hit you with a dive and outsell you while you're selling, which he was just so clever the way he did his shit, you know, like he would sell his ass off on his offensive move, you know?
Right.
Yeah, well, I want to, just talk about his style for a second. Yeah, for Sabu, it's not like he's doing a gymnastic flip. It's like he's throwing his body
as a weapon,
you know. And by the way, I apologize for being all heroined out on you guys. Am I,
dude? You're too much.
Oh, okay, because I just want to make sure. Because here's another 8, which I'm about to. God damn it. Okay, another 8.
Is there any side effect to this? I hope you're not going to get like diarrhea from this shit, bro.
No, this is 5 times the recommended dosage to show you the worse than heroin drug that's out there wrecking our country. No, but I will sleep good tonight though when I go to bed. But
I take a 10 milligram gummy. I sleep like a baby. You're taking 50 tablets.
Well, this is this is.
I got to cut them in half.
There you go.
I would recommend kratom for you if you like if you have pains or to help sleep. Like I said, we talked about it, but
yes.
Well, oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I know people want to get in and stuff, but I got a lot to talk about with Sabu. And so when it comes to his style, he may have inspired what is now like the death match kind of mentality to at least to some extent for sure. But here's something that people might not notice, and I'm going to tell you the difference. And by the way, I got to answer that question too about the Sabu advice, which I will. Sabu always gave advice. Like he was always a professor, a teacher. He never minded like saying, boom, this is the way it is. And it was always like he's speaking for Sheik. But the thing about his style is like he used things as weapons that you would find around a ring. He used the chair. He used the table because it's right there. He wasn't getting doors and light bulbs, and that's the difference. And I've heard him try to explain that so many times, and people don't get it. Like, no, that was a chance thing. Even the gurney, because we would have those at the shows, you know?
Right.
So it was more like his style when it came to the table and using weapons was grabbing stuff that's already there. Not, hey, let's put a fucking... As I said, pizza cutters underneath the ring. And,
right.
Boards, and
very gimmicky.
Yeah. Which if you ever did something like that, it would be like a really special thing. I don't know, like Metal Mayhem match, whatever the hell that is.
But, even the trash cans are usually like around the arena. But so I just want to say like that was in his heart and his perspective, that was the difference. And me and Sabu always agreed whenever we talked about the business to anybody. If one of us had a critique, and that's the one thing I liked about him is that's what I lost. There'll never be anybody in the business like that's on the same page as me so much
that if we're talking to a young wrestler and we say, well, that was good, except for when you went outside and then you did this and this, like we both know that it's fact for both of us, So
Yeah.
So I miss that.
Hey,
too.
Rob, I have a question actually. When I never asked you this, so when you were training with Sheik and Sabu, so the dojo where he was training was in Lansing. Where was that?
It was outside of Lansing, and it moved a couple times. So Williamston was one town, and Webster was one town.
Oh,
And then
where were you? Where were you? Were you like at a hotel or at his house? Where were you staying?
No, I actually lived. My parents only lived 45 minutes away.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
I was all set to go to Killer Kowalski school in my head.
Oh, okay, yeah, Boston,
I was
Boston,
saving money up. Yeah, I was going to move to Boston, and then I found out the Sheik is right here, and I found out later, synchronistically, that the Sheik and Killer Kowalski both got trained by the same guy anyway, Bert Ruby. So
I didn't know that. Wow, that's interesting. Yeah, that's wild.
And how about that? He was on the documentary on Dark Side.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah,
I gotta check that out tomorrow. I'm gonna watch that. Yeah,
you'll like it a lot.
Yeah, I will. Yeah, no, I'm sure I will. Because I got an opportunity once to wrestle Sheik, but a tag match.
Really?
In ECW. I don't know if Rob, you might not have been. No, you weren't there yet. It was me and Kevin Sullivan versus Sabu and Sheik. And Sheik. Now I wasn't there when it happened, but Paul had sent one of somebody to go pick him up at the airport. We didn't. It wasn't a car service, but it was somebody like one of those, whatever it was, a young wrestler, someone who helped out in the building, whatever, to go pick up Sheik at the airport in Philly. Sabu was already at the building, and I asked Sabu, I go, listen, I never met your uncle. I have a lot of respect for him. What's the do's and don'ts? He goes, just don't say nothing. Just let him do whatever the fuck he wants. I said, okay, I'll just shut my mouth. I'm good. Right. So what happens is Sheik gets a ride from this guy. I don't know who it was, a younger guy. And as he's getting out of the car at the building, this is as he's arriving, Sabu told me the story, and it was a shoot. He threw a fireball at the fucking guy from the back seat when he got out of the car. It's ECW Rita, right? And but it didn't hurt the guy. The guy was just, and then he started working the gimmick, and went in the building. Drove from the airport to the building, hit him with the fireball. The guy was okay, and the guy was terrified. We go into this match. Kevin Sullivan and I just shut up. Sabu kind of shut up. We let Sheik and Kevin Sullivan, the veterans, they worked. The two veterans worked it out. Sheik's supposed to hit me with a fireball. I have Sabu in some kind of submission, but Kevin and Sheik never. I believe Sheik never made it in the ring because he was fighting with Kevin outside the ring, and Sheik was all banged up and older. So now he's kind of stuck in the fucking front row, the Sheik.
Yeah.
And I'm with Sabu, and I got him, I don't know, let's say it's like a half crab. And I'm like, what the fuck? He's never going to reach you with the fireball because he's going to reach you. He's going to reach you. Dude, I don't know how the fuck it happened. He threw the fireball from the first row, and it hit me in the back.
Holy shit.
It was insane. It was insane. In front of about 300 people. And, and all Sheik said to me before the match, because I used to wear hot stuff a lot. Hot stuff's like an oil. Rob knows. It's like an oil that kind of has like a cinnamon smell. Brings like
burns your eyes.
Yeah, when you wrestle guys, yeah. And he said to me, "Hey, don't use any oil because the fire is gonna fuck you up." And that was basically what he said to me. That was it.
That was it.
And I already had all on my back. So Sabu, I said, bro, get this shit off my back because your uncle's going to turn me into a torch. So Sabu grabbed my back. Oh, that was my story on Sheik. Yeah.
That's awesome. I was gonna ask you, Taz, if you ever ran into Sheik, so that's pretty cool.
That was just the one time. Yeah, I was very respectful. I was in awe of him, and because Sabu always spoke so highly of him. I also knew his career,
Yeah.
And so it was like, I was enamored with him. And, and I think Sabu had a lot of that. Like you guys were talking earlier about how some of the stuff that Sheik would do, Sabu would do. He was heavily influenced by his uncle. He loved his uncle. And many times Sabu would go to the hotel in his gear after a show. And Rob, you know that. He would go to the fucking hotel just as Sabu, which I loved. I loved it. Like just live the fucking gimmick. I thought it was great.
And by the way, little insight, that headrest, when he would wear that sometimes, that would be a sheet from the hotel.
No shit, really?
Originally, it always was. Then eventually, he got some that are a little nicer. But yeah, like back in the Memphis days or whatever, he'd be like, we'd be leaving the hotel on the way to the arena. Oh shit, I forgot to get a sheet. Go in there and
Yeah. Did you guys stay in Memphis? Did you guys stay at the Admiral Benbow?
we sure did.
Yeah, me too, brother. That was a shithole.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, it was horrible, bro.
Tojo, do you remember Tojo Yamamoto?
Yeah, of course I do. Yeah, yep, absolutely.
So Sabu called it. We all laughed because somebody was trying to tell us that that's where to stay. Who was it?
Bro.
Black wrestler. What black wrestler was there at that time? But anyway,
maybe Brickhouse Brown. Was it Brickhouse?
Oh, maybe it was him. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
So he was saying, the Admiral Benbow, and Sabu was like Apple Bimbo. It was like, yeah, Admiral Bimbo, Apple Bimbo, and so we always call it the Apple Bimbo. We were laughing at it after we stayed there in the dressing room. Like we stayed last night. Sabu said we stayed last night at the Apple Bimbo. And Tojo Yamamoto said, "Oh, they have rats there," and we didn't know what rats were.
What a rat was, yeah.
Oh God!
Yeah. And Sabu said, "What?" He goes, "George slept on the floor." We thought it was so funny that Judge Dredd slept on the floor when they had rats.
But like, see, like Dom, what Rob just said, like they didn't know what rats were because, like years ago, when you broke into business, the way your trainers would train you, my trainer was the same way. They wouldn't tell you everything. They wouldn't smarten you up. You had to learn shit on the road, and that happened to me. I learned the hard way what the term "take a powder." I didn't know what that meant, and I got sent to Puerto Rico for like 3 weeks. My first match was in Puerto Rico, and I don't know how to speak Spanish or none of that, and we did like 3 weeks of TV, and they had me squashing guys, and then the third week of the TV, a bunch of guys are gonna hit the ring heels, and I was one of the heels. Me and a guy named Alex Rizzo, which most know as Big Dick Dudley, God rest his soul, and Van Dam, Big Dick, obviously, and. We broke in together and we were good friends. And so we're in Puerto Rico. He had his first match there too, just like me. It's the third week of the show. We shot him all in one night, obviously. So the baby faces hit the ring, but they're going over it in the back with us and they're telling the heels, all right, when we hit the ring, you guys take a powder.
Sure.
All right. So all the other veteran heels leave the room. Me and Alex, Big Dick, he's like, bro, what the fuck? I don't know what that means. We didn't know what it means, right? We had no idea what it meant, right? We didn't know. So now one of the guys was Ted Petty, who was Flyboy Rocco Rock from the Public Enemy.
Oh, okay,
and he was wearing a mask. He hits the ring, and we don't powder. All the other heels leave, but we didn't know what it was. And then he nails me. He nails Big Dick, and he says, take a powder. And we start hitting him back. Right? And he goes, and he hits us harder. Boom! He had a boxing background, right? Yeah, fuck. I hit him. Big Dick hits him. He goes, take a fucking powder. We thought it meant hit each other harder. And then he hit me with a haymaker, bro, right on my cheek.
Oh, so this, bitch.
And I'm like, I'm out. I'm going to leave the ring now. And then he hit Big Dick right in the throat like Van Dam kicked me in the throat years later. And Big Dick powdered. And then we got yelled at in the locker room. But see, my point in long-winded form is we were never taught what that meant. So I could see why Rob, you're saying, well, we didn't know what rats were. It's like your trainers, they wanted you to learn on your own, and they protected the business. That's how it was back then.
Also around this exact time, like it could have been the very next day, or it could have even been this day. Anyway, we're in Memphis at the TV studio on Saturday morning, right?
Yep.
Sabu, I think he had a tag match with Judge Dredd, I believe.
I remember him. I remember Judge Dredd,
Yeah, man. You know what's weird? I just got his number, like, WrestleCon weekend. And
no shit, yeah.
Yeah, I've been out of touch, and then Sabu passes, and I, couldn't tell him or couldn't.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, there's one, he's the only guy now that, no, Tom's around Samson. Anyway, Judge was with us on our Memphis run, and I remember at the TV studio, Sabu's on the top rope, and he jumped off, and he jumped up high, and it looked like, he almost hit the light. He came down. I don't even know what movie he did, but after he came down, he looked up. And he did that. And the
I can't see your finger.
Oh, sorry.
There you go.
No, I figured what you were doing. I figured it out. Yep.
He started doing that, and then he's doing this, in character, like he's all
sure,
a wild man and
like spooked.
And
Yeah,
spooked.
Just
like pointing. Yeah, and the commentators, right away said, "What? I think he's pointing at the lights. I think he hit the light." That's what. That's what started. Sabu.
That's cool, man.
Oh,
I didn't know that.
Cool.
Yeah, that is very cool. Yeah, that's cool.
He kept it, and he was like, "Well, I was kind of pointing at the light, but I was just because it was there, not because I hit it. He didn't hit it." But,
so he did it. He did it organically. This was not like I'm gonna.
The best shit is always.
That's
organic.
the best shit's organic. Always.
That, yeah.
It really is. Yeah.
The Austin 316, and then you get the Sabu point. It's like some iconic stuff right there.
Yeah.
The RVD thumbs.
That's true.
Taz crossing hit. I don't know. That's
yeah. Well, that wasn't too creative. I just crossed my arms.
I thought it was pretty good.
We talk about how people try to force it now, kids, and they're like,
yeah.
You come up with
all
hand
sorts of
signs.
signs and
Just keep
I
it
know.
simple, guys.
Yeah. That's what I tell my son. Don't, and I told him when he first broke in, just be yourself, be natural. By the way, Rob Hook says hello to you and Katie. I told him earlier I was going to be on the show. Yeah,
we talked about it with Kid Cash a little bit last week.
Oh, no shit. Well, you had Kid Cash on. I didn't see that one. I like Cash.
Yeah, I don't have guests a lot, but I like to. But sometimes, when I do, it's usually a last minute thing, like right before the show. I'll go, I've always done that. I'm not good at planning.
Yeah.
Keeps things entertaining.
Sometimes I like to talk the whole time with Dom, and then other times I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna let someone else do the talking. And this one, of course, is special. I thought about trying to have everybody on, and I'm like, no, that'd be too chaotic. And already I feel like it's going by too quick. Like I want to talk about Sabu for another 8 hours. I got like so many stories, and it's shit that people don't know but would love to know. But
well, you know what's cool, bro? For me, like he was my biggest rival and all this stuff, but I'm learning stuff about this guy I knew forever. And I'm learning from you about this guy, which is, I'm learning some cool shit. I didn't expect this. I'm really happy about it. Seriously.
Yeah, man.
Taz, did you ever ride in the Winnebago?
Yeah.
I've never. I was just telling someone yesterday about the Winnebago. No, I did not ride in it. I did not. At that time, I was kind of anti-Winnebago. So, I was anti-Winnebago, and I think the Winnebago was anti-Taz. But no, I've been near it, and I know very well about it. What was the dog's name, Sabu? The little poodle he had, that Sabu had, bro. He was always high. The dog was always stoned. He was always high.
I can't remember the name.
He had a dog for 18 years.
18
years?
That had to be the dog. It was a little like a poodle, I think.
Yeah, but he told me all the time out there.
Yeah. That dog was high, man. Yeah, the dog was high.
The high dog.
The dog was so long. I was like, I'm so impressed Sabu kept something alive that long.
I remember the little dog. Yeah. And hey, Rob, you know about those cowboy boots? I didn't remember this. Jeff Jones reminded me. I sold him a pair of cowboy boots. Did you know that?
Yeah, no, I didn't know that you sold them, but I know about them as far as him having them. I didn't know they came from you, but people comment on that when they see that picture of all of us at the Funk's Ranch.
In Amarillo, yeah. Bro, I sold them to him. They were like blue, like either like Python or something. They didn't fit me good. And I remember talking to him, and then I gave him, and it had my name like engraved in the leather. It said TAZ. He was hot as fuck about that. I'm like, boots. What are you doing?
Yeah. One time somebody was talking about his fashion choices, and he said, it was him saying, "Oh, I know." He said he was walking at the airport, and he said he passed his reflection. and he said he looked at his reflection, and he had the cowboy boots and the shorts and the
Shorts, yeah.
ECW sweat jacket and the ball cap. He was like, wow.
Baseball cap backwards, always backwards.
Backwards, yeah.
He popped himself.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Like there were so many times, and we're not even talking about when you wrestle Sabu.
Right.
Like some of the shit he would say in the ring, like during a match, or like if he's selling and something hurts, or you maybe potatoed him, which I might have done once or twice, but I promise you he got me back. You know, but
I knocked him out. I fucking broke his jaw. I fucking that so many times.
Funny though, bro. He would sell. Oh man. Oh,
I remember in Trenton when he shit in Trenton, we had a tag match with Dreamer and Sandman, and he shit his pants during the match. Yeah, that's stuff.
I didn't remember that.
Yeah, we were all like trying to avoid it. I mean, he's my partner, but
yeah.
We did this spot where I'm down, and the one that the Hardy Boys stole from us, where I'm on my knees, jumps off my back and does a leg lariat into Dreamer. Dreamer's like, "Oh, get out of here! You spit your pants." That's how he discovered it, I think. That move was, "Oh, you shit your pants." I know.
I know. I did. That's how he would be.
Oh man,
bro, we wrestled on that Raw when we did that shoot invasion with WWE. We did the WWE invasion, not within WWE, when ECW right before Belly League. Yes, like right before
97.
Yeah, and then I was wrestling Mikey Whipwreck on Raw. Sabu's supposed to come out, and he wanted to jump off the R. Yeah. Had the big RAW Raw.
Right.
Yeah.
And he wanted to jump, and WWE was cool with it. And Team Taz, like I had all my guys, they were going to catch him. You know, so he's going to be, they kind of ran over there, and then Sabu's supposed to do this big dive. But he falls off the fucking R. He just fell off. Like, it just...
Didn't it kick back when he pushed?
It kind of did. Yeah, that's kind of what happened. It wasn't like strong base.
Like the
and
ladder,
I could hear
someone holding the ladder.
Correct. Exactly. And I could hear, I'm in the ring. I hear him go, oh, fuck. I heard him. I'm trying not to laugh while it's happening. Because I know nothing's going to hurt this fucking guy. You can't hurt him, you know? And
then, you guys were there to catch him, or someone was, right?
It was Team Taz. It was like 6 guys, you know, young boys.
And
you know
just
what I mean?
landed on the ground in front of you?
A couple. He landed in front of, like, Chetty's the only one. Chris Chetty's the only one who got a little piece of him. I think, if I remember correctly. They felt bad. They tried, but he just came up real short. You know what I mean? But he was okay, thank God. But yeah, and we would always joke, he fell off the R. As long as like an inside joke.
Hey, to answer the only question that we've taken so far, Sabu always gave advice to everybody, I feel like. Well, not everybody, but I mean anybody that wasn't his age or older. It seemed like he was comfortable anyway saying, "Oh, don't ever do that," you know, or "You should do more of that." Like he was assertive in that way. And one of the best advices he gave me way back in the USWA days, he told me and Dango, you remember Dango, Taz, right?
I do. Yeah, I haven't heard his name.
My other best friend that died. Yeah, both of them.
Yeah, I do remember him. Yeah.
They went to find out he's got cancer too. So,
oh, geez.
Boom.
Yeah.
But Sabu, we were talking about the girls there. Me and Dango were right out of high school then, 1991. You know,
wow.
We're really a
year
and a half ago, 2 years ago. Anyway, we were talking about the girls, and it was Miss Texas, the black.
Oh, Jacqueline.
I guess it would have been. Yeah. Anyway, we were talking about her in Flirty or whatever, and Sabu is like, the girls are the boys. You don't fuck the boys. That was some of the best advice to answer your question. Sabu said, don't fuck the boys, and the girls are the boys. And so, first off, when I met Katie, she didn't have to hear like years of rumors of me getting with everybody in the business, like a lot of the guys and girls have. You know what I mean? That's a recipe for disaster. Because I was faithful even to the wrong person, because I believe that was a good moral. And anyway, and I didn't try to fuck the other boys. And then, but also above that, even it was, you know, like you were saying, Dom, with his actions,
Mhm.
way that he told me really rubbed off on me. Actually, him getting married made me want to get married too. I remember like I was the whole thing because I knew that he loved the business more than anything. But when his wife, and this was his Japanese wife, he told me when she would be in the arena, man, he would not only break kayfabe and bring her in the dressing room, but he would like get a chair when there's not even enough chair for all the boys, and he would pull a chair out for the wife to sit. If anyone else did that, they would and should probably get smacked across the face, kicked out of the dressing room. That's so anti our omerta, our rules. It's so against that. But the fact that he put her so important that he would do that and he would say, you know, what are you going to do? Give me the heat for it. I'll absorb it. That really rubbed off on me and made me want to make my wife priority. And then because of that, when I got the right person, she already knew that I had all these morals because I had a great reputation, but also she was able to trust me right away and not ever worry about if I'm gonna screw her over or whatever. Like most of our peers do. You know, most of our peers are adulterers, and that's part of wanting to get in the business, the rock and roll lifestyle, and you know, so that's another thing that makes me different. And seeing that on Sabu, whether that was always true throughout the years or not, but just seeing and recognizing that for that time period rubbed off on me for sure.
Absolutely, yeah, good
What about
stuff.
That's a great answer. Better than my answer was. Yeah.
Well, I wanted to get that in because it made me who I am. I mean, it's not just the wrestler in the ring.
Yeah.
When you're 18 years old, you're so impressionable. You know, in your 20s and your 30s, you're still impressionable. I didn't grow up till my 40s. But when I think about traveling in this crazy business, living on the road, I'm not just learning from Sabu how to, you know, live out of a suitcase. I'm also learning how to treat people. I'm learning about life, learning about consequences. And it was at a point in my life where I was definitely molding into the man that I would become. So, yeah.
Oh, how nice is this?
That's nice.
This is great.
That's nice. I just have my cat over here. That's it.
And part of that would be sometimes eventually, and this was more after ECW, I would know when I didn't agree with his decisions, and I would know, like, Sabu, that's not it. You know, why don't you keep that money instead of just dropping it? You don't know what she's doing with it, and even that helped shape me. You know, wanting to do things that he did and emulate him, and also wanting to not do other things. You know, that's all part of being influenced.
Absolutely, no doubt. Yeah, so it's good to balance it all out. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Seth, he did say thanks for the $50 too, Seth. Jeez, oh man.
Oh, wow.
Whoa,
so generous.
Seth is our sponsor.
$50. Love and respect to Sabu.
Wearing the Venice Beach Club shirts.
Yeah.
You haven't been around, but maybe hopefully you've seen him on the shows too.
He's got some good merch.
That sounds cool.
I'm telling him because they're his shirts. Yeah. He's the guy that does the song again.
He's the song
kidding.
guy.
Okay,
nice. A little higher. Sing it down.
Steph. Yeah.
Wow. Look at Dom.
Love and respect to Sabu. I'm lucky to get to see him wrestle a ton back in the day. And Taz, too. What's up, Taz? Love you, bro. I say Rocket Buster all the time. Yes.
That's old school.
Wish me luck, guys. Had open eye surgery in the morning and feeling like hell right now.
Good luck on that, Seth. Good luck.
Heal up, bro. Hope you can hear us. Okay. You're missing a very handsome Taz tonight.
You are.
Yes. See that?
Taz, you look dashed tonight. You look dashed.
Thank you. Oh, that's right. That's what I aim for.
Slong Dong Silvers, thank you. Says, pardon my name. I got to referee 2 Sabu matches and one with Genie too. I will never ever forget. One love and RIP to the legendary Sabu.
Nice. That's nice.
Very cool.
You know, everybody knows when he lost Genie, he was really, really hurt. And man, it took until just a few months ago to start seeing him feeling like happy again and stuff, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Didn't he always have the card on it that he wore too? Was that
or lanyard?
You know, something else that people probably don't know. He prayed before every match too. He would get down on his knee on the ground, and he would pray. And he had the cross hanging from his rearview mirror in his car when he had a car back in the day when we would drive around to all the towns and stuff. And he definitely was a man of faith because I had several conversations with him about it.
Wow, that's
yeah.
really,
That doesn't surprise. I didn't know to that detail as well, but that doesn't surprise me. I've seen him drop and do a prayer before a match. I have seen that, but yeah, I didn't know it was that strong. Yeah, but that's awesome information to know.
Yeah, I didn't know he was strong in faith too. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Frankie, you always ask the good questions. $5. Who were some of Sabu's closest friends in ECW? Also, when did you guys start having awesome matches with Sabu? So
I'll just say this: as far as like who his closest friends were, I mean, he was friends with everybody. I mean, obviously Rob was his closest friend. I mean, we all kind of knew that off the jump, you know. But I can't name one guy in that locker room that did not like him. Like, and that's not bullshit. That's a shoot. Now, Rob, maybe you would know more than me if people thought I hated him. You know, people thought I didn't like him. Now, there was a time where I didn't like him, yes. And there was a time where he didn't like me. But that's part of being competitive. And like I said, I was a little bit immature and a little bit thick-headed and whatnot. But I always respected him. And you know, but I felt everyone loved him, man. All the boys in that locker room and our crew, I thought really. I mean, Rob, maybe you know more than me. That's what it seemed like to me.
Can't. I don't think there was anybody that he didn't really appreciate. You know, like he loved the business. He loved how everyone was a character, and he got along with everybody. When I think of our clique, the guys that ran in the traveled in his Winnebago, for instance, that was well, the referee
Pee Wee, right?
Yeah, I heard somebody call him Pee Wee Anderson. Oh, that was Stevie Richards, but it wasn't Pee Wee Anderson. It was John Pee Wee Moore.
Pee Wee Moore. Yeah.
But anyway, he was Sabu's young boy, so he would travel with us and friend, but you know, it was all business. And Sabu used to boss him around to try to teach him. Louis Spicoli.
Bobby Duncan Fonzie, Bobby Duncan, Fonzie, yeah.
Bobby Duncan Jr. And that was maybe, I don't think I'm leaving anybody out. That was about, you know, like the real tight, like first circle, I think. But then friends, but then like outside of that, like when it came to the nighttime partying or whatever, you know, like there'd be the smoking clique, you know, let's go get high, and we'd have Spike and Little Guido and Tracy Smothers and some other characters in that. But Sabu also liked to, back in the day, do some other stuff. So he'd be hanging out with some other guys that I didn't really know that much. Big Dick, New Jack, some of those guys, and Todd Gordon, and and that's a lot of the bonding that we did back then was over stuff like that. So he would, and then, you know, outside of that, like Dreamer just floated in between everybody. Everyone loved Dreamer. Everyone loved Sabu, and I think Sabu loved everyone too. I don't know. I can't think of anyone that he really was, you know, like Vita motherfucker, like. No, I mean, even if I said something, you know, like, oh my God,
I sure?
So and so, he's all right.
Sure? You sure not me? You sure about that?
I'm sure. Yeah, I don't remember him ever actually even like boiling hot. I only remember him laughing, you know, and it'd be stuff, you know, that was just, you know, like he taught us, he was teaching us too, you know, but to be like say to be humble, and he just thought there was one time where he said that you and him were riding in a car together and you were going somewhere, and according to him, you said to him, can you imagine if the people in that car next to us you know, knew who was in this car? And like that just became like a big joke. It's stupid, you know, it's just something that you said
back then. I definitely probably said that.
But it was just something we would laugh at and do it in our best, you know, Taz accent, you know, and think, you know, like Like the people in the car watch ECW, or whatever we get whatever mileage we could with it. But I don't remember. I don't really remember him ever being like, man, he probably was when you were working together. I don't know. I really don't remember.
Well, when we had the shoot of it is when we had like our tension. It was before you came in, Robert. We were tagging. I was doing a Tasmaniac gimmick, and he was, doing his gimmick. And we got the tag belts and all this stuff. We were getting pushed. Paul was pushing the shit out of us. And we just had tension, like a lot of tag teams do.
Mm-hmm.
And it just was, and it wasn't like, no, let him do the job. I don't want to do the job. It wasn't nothing like that. I mean, because we were getting pushed. It was just more egos. We both, to be successful in this business, you got to have some sort of an ego. And all pro wrestlers do. Well, I think all entertainers do. You have to.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, so we just, when we were tagging, that's when we were kind of like, ugh, you know what I mean? And then we kind of carried it on after that and kind of worked a lot of the boys, because I kind of followed Sabu's lead on that, because again, getting a lot of that stuff, I think, from the Sheik, where you work the boys sometimes, which is not a negative, it's actually a positive. So is the stuff that's really bad. And this is just kayfabe stuff. This is just wrestling stuff, and so we kind of, once we weren't teaming anymore, and then I lost that gimmick and became Taz, we kind of liked that everybody thought we were just at odds all the time. But I don't think we were. In my mind, we weren't. We respected each other,
Absolutely. I think and like I told you off air, like I was catching up with the Barely Legal up to 1997 and all that stuff, and just seeing the long-term story aspect of it all, and the cool dynamic that, like, how good you were on the mic in the ring, and like kind of establishing this, and how integral of a part Fonzie played in all of it too, I thought. But then you had that aspect, and I was almost comparing it in my head like to Jaws in a way, because it's like you never see the shark, and like Sabu at these times were like you didn't see Sabu, and then there was that aspect of you're the one doing all the talking, and Sabu was not one to do all the talking.
Correct, because Sabu didn't talk, and I can't take credit for any. It was Heyman's idea. Sure. I mean, just flat out, it was all Paul's idea, and it just worked, because I was able to build heat. The Sabu was over like Rover, man. He was just fucking over. So the more he wasn't there, and the more shit I talked about him, the more of an asshole I came off like. Right. And I knew what I was doing. It was by design, and it worked. Sabu knew it too. It's work, right? We're telling stories.
Absolutely. And it's something that was really refreshing to be like, man, this is going over well over a year, and then some. And it's just like, such a cool aspect of it all.
You gotta have that long-term storytelling. And then Rob came in and ruined the whole thing at the end of Barely Legal, and he jumped me.
Yeah. Someone asked both. They want to know both of us when we started having good matches with Sabu. For me, I don't know, because like I didn't realize, like, when I was green, I didn't think that I was green. I didn't know that I was green. You know what I mean? When I got ECW at 96, like I said, I was still really young and green. I wrestled Sabu right off the bat. Afterwards, after our first match that we had at the ECW arena, when I went back to the dressing room, the boys were on their feet back there, and they all clapped, and they were all waiting by the door, and I had to like walk through them while they were clapping, and I didn't understand like why they were clapping. I really didn't know. It sounds weird, but I really didn't take it as if they were applauding me. I'd never seen that in business, in the wrestling. Yeah, it wasn't something that I didn't recognize it, and I was taught, you're either a fan or you're a wrestler, that whole thing.
Same. Yeah.
So when Sabu came back afterwards, and then I told him what happened, and I said, what was that? And he said, because I thought maybe it was a tradition they do at the end of the show. I don't know, but he said, well, he goes, that was for me and you, because they really liked our match. And I said, really? And he said, yeah. He goes, me and you have matches like that all the time, but they'd never seen anything like that, So
that's cool. Yeah.
That's what he.
Yeah. To answer the question of, I say this humbly, I started having good matches with Sabu the first time we worked, but it was him, not me. It was his ability. It was his ability to sell. It was his ability to do these death-defying moves. I was just a base guy throwing a couple suplexes, to be honest with you. So it was just him. I was. That's what my role was,
Mhm.
and I didn't have to do much. Like he was the star of the show, not me. So it was easy. I mean, seriously, I just had to be mean and do some good offense and let him do his shit. I mean, that's kind of what we always did.
Absolutely, yeah. Have better sex with Blue Chew. Blue Chew is the original brand offering chewable tablets for better sex. And starting now, Blue Chew is offering a combo so strong it'll knock your socks off and your neighbor's socks off. Bam! You'll have to move towns with the amount of noise you'll be making. Oh, Blue Chew Max has arrived. It combines the active ingredients of Viagra and Cialis into one chewable tablet. This combo acts fast and lasts. Guys, be ready when she needs it and get your first month of Blue Chew free. Great sex is a few clicks away. Sign up at bluechew.com. Consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days. Blue Chew tablets are made in the US of A and prepared and shipped directly to your door. The best part, it's all done online. That means no visits to the doctor's office, no awkward conversations, and no waiting in line at the pharmacy. Make life easier by getting harder and discover your options at BlueChew.com. We've got a special deal for our listeners. Try your first month of Blue Chew free when you use promo code RUMOR. Just pay $5 shipping. That's promo code RUMOR. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. We thank Blue Chew for sponsoring the podcast. Now, Taz, did you notice a lot of, like, when you wrestled somebody like Rob or Sabu and stuff like that, you were trained by Johnny Rods, correct?
Correct. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So did you say, and like Rob and Sabu always talk about how Sheik taught them the foundation, like just the wrestling aspect and like trying to get the pins and stuff like that. Is that kind of what Johnny Rods did for you too in a lot of ways, or was his philosophy a little bit different of a teaching?
Yeah, no, it was. His philosophy was your base work had to be strong. Your bumps were the most important thing, and you had to know how to chain wrestle. And I had a judo background, so the wrestling part of it came quick to me, and the bumping came quick because judokas bump just like pro wrestlers bump. So that part, the psychology was tough to catch. But no, I adapted more submission based stuff. Not from Johnny Rods. I mean, Johnny Rods trained me, but he's also the guy that said, "You're never going to make it. You're not tall enough." So, and he was 5'10", and I was maybe 5'9". So I don't know, but whatever. But not everybody loves their trainer. Let's put it that. I don't want to be an asshole now. But you're turning me heel, Dom. You're turning me heel.
My bad.
Okay.
We're getting
a little hot now.
Back.
I was trained. I'm proud to say I was trained the right way, as far as just like Seek would train guys, or Kowalski would train guys, or back then Dr. D. David Schultz would train guys. They were credible schools, like by credible men. What's that?
I just said Larry Sharp.
Larry Sharp. Yeah. I had a little heat with him though. But he didn't like me, But he trained guys the right way. He did. Well, it's a New Jersey, New York thing, and I didn't want to put over one of his guys, and then it got ugly. It's typical old school stupid shit. That's all.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, that's just, again, I told you I was immature. So
did we answer Seth's question?
I don't think he had a question. He just had some. He just wanted to say everything. Yeah. Just best of luck in the eye surgery, Seth. That's it.
All right. Who called the ambulance on me for my heroin overdose?
Uh-oh.
Oh, my God.
Don't answer the door, baby.
We need some super chats, too.
Right. Taz, would you say that I'm intoxicated or heavily infected by this crazy drug that you watched me take 5 times the recommended dosage?
I will say, Rob, I know you a very long time. You seem exactly like you did every time I saw you on the road in the 90s in ECW and all time in TNA and WWE. You're the same guy.
Same.
So I don't care.
We'll give us some more time. We'll give us some more time.
We got a couple super chats here too. Man, it hurts. Thanks for the Riddler. He says, "Man, it hurts to see Sabu gone. First laid my eyes on Sabu, RVD, and ECW at the age of 12 in November 1998. Now I feel old. Rest in peace, Sabu." Indeed.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, man. I don't know about you, Taz, but I love that we have the blessing to get older. Sabu ain't gonna get no older,
Right.
And, For people that don't know the real man and just want to have him an image in their mind, they might say, "Oh, I don't want to think of him when he's old and crippled."
Yeah.
Whatever, dude. We're real people, and
We're
truthfully,
blessed.
I wouldn't go backwards. I love getting
Right.
older myself.
It's funny.
And
I
I love that the longer we're alive, like the more knowledge we have, the more we understand
That's
life,
right.
the more we understand the bigger picture, and
Absolutely.
the more we're able to absorb just because we're here longer.
Absolutely. And to your point, Rob, about and paraphrasing, we're blessed that we can get old because it is a blessing. My wife was just talking to me about this recently, but I had my knee replaced about maybe 5 months ago,
Yeah.
and Steve Austin, Stone Cold, he had his replaced like 2 weeks after me. So we were talking all the time, like, about, like, he's like, "What's next, brother? What are we doing?" Like, because I was kind of ahead of him a little bit on it. And I don't know how we got talking about it, but he had said the same thing you said, Rob. Like, I said, "Man, it sucks getting old." He goes, "No, Taz, don't suck. We're lucky we're getting old." He said the same thing.
Cool.
Yeah.
It's a good way. It's
Yeah.
a great way to look at it. It's the best way to look at it too, because a lot of people don't have that benefit.
I wouldn't
No.
want to go back and take away knowledge and be hungrier and have to. And by the way, when I look at young people in their 20s, dude, you haven't even proved you're going to make it yet. I mean, everyone thinks they're going to live and just die of old age. Everyone's got their plans. Well, no, I'm going to wait till I'm 80 and then I'll have grandkids and then they'll do that. Yeah, God willing.
Yeah,
Right. No, you're right. Rob, you said make it. We're not even sure if you're going to make it yet. And that's true. I was just talking to someone recently, a couple weeks ago at work about this. I want to get your opinion. And you too, Dom, and Katie, you too. Like, what does it mean? What's you guys' definition as female or male pro wrestlers to make it? Is it, all right, he or she won a championship, or he or she's making the amount of money they want to make and they're making a great living? Or is it that, hey, I'm on TV, that means I made it? What does that mean to make it, in you guys' opinion?
Yeah, well, for me, like when I used it there, I specifically was saying, people in your 20s, you haven't proved that you're going to make it to your 30s, let alone your 40s, your 50s. Like, the older you get, the more you're outliving everybody else, and it's like you got to go through that still when you're young, because you still got all that to go through, and you have proved that you're going to make it to the next stage. So but as far as specifically as a wrestler, I think it's circumstantially going to depend upon that person's goals. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
If somebody says, you know what, I'm making enough money to afford the life that I want, and or whatever their values are, I can see it's growing. My paying my dues is paying off. I can see where it's going. I'm in a place right now where everyone can look at me as successful, but really it's by somebody's own standards of success. That's what I think.
Okay, great answer.
Yeah, and I think too, it's like, I look at people on television and stuff like that when they're wrestling, and I'm like, oh man, they're really underutilizing this guy or gal, or like they're jobbing out all the time or something like that. And then I take a step back and I'm like, well, maybe they don't necessarily care about that. If they're doing, like, they're getting to work in the ring, and maybe that's what they love.
They're on TV.
Yeah.
They're on TV and they're making a fair amount of money to support their family. Like, because I would always think about, like, oh man, you got to push this person, or you got to make this.
It could just be to make it to even have one match. That's how I looked at my own goals when I was young.
Yeah.
I was like, bro, I'm gonna be a wrestler. I'm gonna at least give it a try. I don't know if it'll last. Yeah, so at my first match for me, I would have been like, dude, I made it. Look at me. I'm a pro wrestler. I'm on a card.
Right.
That would be that extreme.
So it's all subjective. Yeah, that's why I'm asking the question. I'm curious how people think.
Yeah.
But then,
do you feel a certain way?
Do movies, and like I feel like he just dreams and does just so big. So like his level made it. Like maybe somebody that's even made it to a huge level is like, well, I'm not like on the Rock's level. So that's right. Rob, that it's on everyone's personal preference.
Absolutely.
Right.
By the way, he's a total overachiever.
He definitely is. Yeah. My goal, like when I was young and breaking into business, I had 3 goals. I wanted to make a living at the business. I didn't care how much money because I had so many odd jobs and blue collar digging holes. I was the guy, guys say, I had to dig holes. I really did dig holes, right? So I worked for a railroad and I was a trackman. So I had to install railroad tracks with a gang of guys, like 5 guys every day for 8 hours, and then go to the gym. And I would use my vacation time to work like indie shows or go to Memphis or go to Texas or go wherever. Anyway, so I wanted to make a living, no matter how much it was. I wanted to hold some type of championship. I didn't care what it was. And I wanted to wrestle in my hometown, obviously New York, but in Madison Square Garden one time.
Yeah.
So that was my 3 goals. And, it took me 7 years to make it. I did. It took me 7 years to make a living. I won a championship in some small promotion, like a light heavyweight title, and I thought it was it was a vinyl belt with like plastic. And I'm like, I fucking did it, and
Yeah.
and then I debuted for WWE at the Gardens, and I beat an Olympic gold medalist. So I was like, I did it right. So
yeah, you did pretty good.
Yeah, I just remembered a conversation with Joe C. You remember him from Kid Rock?
Oh yeah, dude, little man, he was the man. Yeah.
Yeah, one time we were having a conversation, and he was telling me that I made. And I was telling he was telling me that I made it because I had an action figure, and I was telling him he made it because he was on The Simpsons.
Yeah.
There you go. I mean, those are both cool ass things, man. Yeah.
Levels of what you want to achieve and stuff like that. Absolutely.
Yeah. But also Dom, like our generation, like wrestlers from back in the day, when you break in the whatever 80s or 90s, most of the guys, I don't know how to say this. I don't want to be rude, but like I don't want to. It's not right to stereotype, but most, in my opinion, most of the guys from that generation either needed a job or they weren't fans. Well, I grew up as a fan as a young kid, and then I kind of grew out of being a wrestling fan. But I think back then, a lot of guys, it was about money. Right. It was about just making money, and I think that's like, in my opinion, pretty important. Because that's why you put your body. It's a very dangerous business. I mean, you can lose your life in a match in 2 seconds. You can lose the power of your legs. We know all this stuff. So you got to make as much as you can, like an NFL player or any kind of mainstream athlete that's a pro athlete. You don't have a long career. You have a short window for most guys and girls to make good money. So you got to make it while you can, in my opinion.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I remember that's what they push on you in high school. What are you going to do to make money? It was always about the career and the next step and trying to prepare you. And I knew I wanted to be a wrestler, so I didn't have to have a regular 9 to 5.
Yeah.
So you I'm sure you had some kind of jobs when you were young. You probably had jobs, summer jobs. Yeah, I'm sure.
But I was saving money for wrestling school.
Yeah.
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah.
That's the great thing about it. And it's such a fascinating thing because you get instilled, okay, you got to make money at something, but to find something as wild or like such a off the beaten path as wrestling, and
wasn't offered on career day.
You didn't necessarily get that on the job board or anything like that.
When you don't know any famous people or don't know wrestlers, then it seems even more like just a crazy dream.
It seems like
my town, nobody knew anybody famous. So
and you think about like getting to that level where you're like, oh, I'm making money off of something like this, and in turn providing for my family, or like, that is a good level of success where it's just like, and you're in a rare breed of stuff like that. I think.
Yeah. And a lot of people think, well, especially in today's climate in pro wrestling, if you're with AEW or WWE, the house shows is kind of a thing of the past. So you're not on the road as much as you were, which is good in a lot of ways because there's less addiction to pills and all these dangerous drugs from pain because you're not working as much. But you still have to put the work in. People think, oh, you're working 1 day a week. Well, that's a crock of shit because if you're on the road, you're traveling. So those days are coming off you on 1 day a week, and you got to lift every fucking day. You got to fucking train. You got to make sure you're doing your cardio. You got to have your nutrition right. It's the real work gets done. What people don't see. That's where you put the work in that no one sees.
Yeah, you're doing. It's almost like you're doing the ring stuff for the fun of it, but a lot of that
That's the
aspect.
easy. That's usually the easy part. Yeah.
Yeah, that's usually the easier part, not for the fun of it, but yeah.
The prep is a bitch.
Ow, I could only imagine.
Yeah.
Seth follows up. Taz, how is your knee?
Great. My new knee is the only pain in the ass, Seth, with this knee is the airport because I got to let them know I got metal in my knee. So now you get fucking Pat Down Jones. I'm basically getting, I'm getting felt up every week here. So you know, and it's but the knee is doing great. I mean, I was having so much hard time walking through airports, man. It's just I had bone on bone for a long time in that joint. I tried everything. I tried stem cells up the wazoo. I tried all sorts of shit. But yeah, I appreciate Seth asking, but no, it's phenomenal. And anyone who ever needs a knee replacement, I strongly suggest it.
Oh man, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
My mom got both her knees replaced and she didn't feel any, like, it felt great for her. So
That's awesome. That's awesome, man. Seriously.
Rob DW, thanks for the 20 pounds. RIP Sabu and an absolute legend. Whose idea was it to have Sabu break his silence and actually call Taz out in the original ECW? Do you guys remember? Was that Paul probably?
I believe it was Paul. Maybe Rob knows better than me, but I think that was Paul.
No, was I there yet? Or was it before I got there when you were working with him? I'm not sure.
When that happened, you actually weren't there yet. I don't think you were there yet. I don't think you were there yet. Yeah.
I know they were building, like, I kept hearing, like, you guys weren't touching yet. You were just like a build, like, when I got there.
Right.
I just where it was a long time and it was meant to be, like, make everybody wait, and everyone was waiting, and it was like everything, like everyone was into it, like, so much. Then when I came, like, kind of in the middle of that and stuff too, and muddied it up a little bit, but
no, it was good.
I don't remember when he said it. I don't know the answer.
It's coming back to me now. I do remember that Sabu did not want to do it. Paul's got a much better memory than me, but he didn't want to do it. He didn't want to say it, but Paul felt it was very important. And, Paul, Sabu at the end of the day did listen to Paul on that, and I think it was the right thing. But yeah, it was. I'm 99.99% sure it had to be Paul, because it wasn't Sabu's idea.
Yeah, there's no way Sabu did not want to talk.
No,
and I do remember having that talk later, or the same experience when Vince wanted him to talk. And
there you go. Yeah.
Right.
I always knew that, of course.
Yeah.
Yo, Rob, we're going to take a quick time out just to say that this week's episode of One of a Kind with RVD is presented by Get Blitzed. Get Blitzed Lit Aid Nano-Infused THC Syrup is a premium cannabis-infused syrup formulated with nanotechnology for fast-acting effects. And that advanced nanotechnology formulation allows for quicker onset and enhanced potency compared to regular THC syrup. It's Delta-9 and legal in all 50 states, every single one. And you have several syrups to choose from Blue Raz to Key Lime Pie to Pina Colada to Tiger's Blood to Cherry to Grape. Just head to get-blitz.com, use promo code RVD, and get 15% off your whole order. Could be a bottle, could be a bundle, your choice. But yes, head to get-blitz.com, use promo code RVD, and it is by Mickey Ray Sinatra and Courtney. Take a look. Head to get-blitz.com, promo code RVD, get 15% off. It's one of a kind, baby.
Couple just comments here. Dan Norton, thanks for the $5. First time I met Sabu was also my first time meeting Taz in person at Wrestling Universe in Queens. Great memory during the Taz show days. So he gets a shout out.
I remember that. I actually forgot that we did that signing together, Sabu and I. Yeah, that's right. A lot of people might not know Conrad Thompson, right? We did Sabu and I did this is maybe about 2 years ago. We did a podcast with Conrad where we watched Barely Legal together, the pay-per-view. Yeah. It's pretty cool. So people could check it out on YouTube where Conrad stuff,
Absolutely share it out. Yeah, for sure. Josh Kelly adds for the $5. He says the main event of the first hardcore TV I ever saw was Sabu versus RVD from Hostile City Showdown. It changed the way I viewed wrestling forever. So stuff there.
I enjoyed that. The series of matches that we had when I first came into ECW in '96, like that was all obviously very pivotal in my career. And so much of that was just organic. Even me not shaking his hand, like I didn't know I wasn't going to shake his hand. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't know that was going to till he's extended his hand and goes, "Don't shake it." And I was like, "What?" I was like, "Oh my god, these people are going to put on me," and I'm brand new, trying to get over. That's this match. Right? Oh no, that might be a stretcher match.
Yeah, that might be stretcher.
Okay.
It's tough to see. Yeah, kids.
I remember when he said that, my first thought was, "No, you're killing me." And I went, "Nah," and and didn't shake it, and then it led to the respect match, and then it led to me hearing that song on the radio. That walk where they sing "Reese."
Yeah.
Like, dude, this is perfect. I need ECW music. This is perfect, and they're singing about respect and what I'm going through. This, and surprisingly, you might think when Paul heard it, he would be like, "That's perfect," but I don't know if he didn't know what it was or whatever, but he just kind of gave it a green thumb and was kind of just like, if you're sure, if you like it, okay, but I want you to be sure because I don't want to keep changing it several times. So, but he obviously ECW is very White Zombie, and Pantera and White Zombie were touring at the time, which is why they were doing the commercials and playing that, and all because Sabu told me not to shake his hand on the spur of the moment. Yeah.
Dude, I didn't know that's how you came up with walk. That's a pretty cool story, bro. I didn't know that. That's really cool.
Imagine if you heard Aretha Franklin respect first, though. Change the trajectory of everything.
Is that funny, or is it just the heroin?
It's the
You're
heroin.
on a bunch of heroin. You're definitely
it's the fucking dope you're taking.
Sorry, guys.
It's the dope. Maddie asked a good question. Sabu's favorite rib or joke. Any funny Stone story? Sabu,
oh my god!
Was there a good rib, Taz, that Sabu did to you?
No, he never ribbed me. I don't think Sabu was a big ribber. I mean, I never seen him rib anyone. I'm trying to remember now. He was funny as fuck, but he didn't rib. I mean, there's shit I can't say. I won't say on here that he would say shit about. There's a lot of shit, bro. Like funny, but I can't think of. He wasn't a ribber, right? I mean, Rob, you wouldn't look at him as a ribber, right?
He wasn't, like, and his idea of a joke wasn't very funny. I remember one time there was some underwear that had a big brown thick streak in it, and he thought it was funny to hang that on the doorknob of the dressing room. I don't think anybody else.
I think I remember that part. Yes.
Like, no one else really thought that was funny. Like, some of the people were laughing at just how crazy he was. Like, oh my god, like, you really did that. But like, yeah. But one time, and I'm not a ribber either. But one time when we were, well, it's the AWR. I'm not sure what country, Ireland. They're out of Ireland, but so we're somewhere over there in the UK. And we were at a truck stop, and I found behind the glass counter, I thought it was funny, they had a sex doll at just this random place, Of course,
at a rest stop.
Yeah. So of course I called Sabu over, and I didn't know he was going to buy it, but yeah, she ended up making it on the rest of the tour. She went around with us. She was in the dressing room always, and they were trying to do funny stuff with her. Yeah, I have all this on RVD TV actually on video. But one night, Gangrel had a coffin match, and me and Sabu are sitting in the bleachers behind the curtain where you can't see, hanging out. And the coffin is down there below me, and we're talking, and I was like, man, we should put the blow up doll in the. Can you imagine, like, if she was filled with helium and during the match they open up the lid and it's floating up to the ceiling, and we're laughing about it, and it's like, man, too bad we can't get helium. And then we go to throw the idea out, and it's like, we can still put her in there though. Right. Sabu was committed. I'm gonna do it. And like,
I can hear it.
He went. He put the blow up doll in the casket that's waiting behind the curtain for dude Gangrel to use to open up during this match, and we're watching it like a dog that hides her bone.
That's a pretty good rib right there, though. That is
That is a great rib.
I thought so, yeah, but we were laughing so hard we're crying, and we're just by ourselves, kind of by the coffin, looking, Anyway, he told me, "You owe me for this. You owe me for this." So sign those papers. Sign those papers. He told me he thought it would be a good idea to get a picture of it instead of just leaving it alone. She goes over and she lifts it up, takes a picture of it, and then Anne, the house mom of the tour, saw that and saw us laughing. And then she's like, she knows something's up, so she comes over, lifts it up, and sees it. And she did not think it was funny.
Oh.
I don't think Joey Cabaret, the promoter, thought it was funny either. I don't think they appreciated our sense of humor. They were pissed because we were like in a high school.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess that would kind of make a little sense. Then.
But I'm sure the high school kids would pop though.
Yeah, they would pop.
Right. But that was the rib that almost was, but never was. Even if he would have just lifted it up, and even if only Gangrel saw it and he had to close it real quick or whatever, even that would have been hilarious.
Oh, that would have been great.
Been out in the middle of this.
That's pretty funny. That is pretty funny. That's good shit.
Yeah,
absolutely. Well, geez, we got $100 one. 3 big ones.
Wow.
New sponsor.
Wow, thank you. He says, "R.I.P. Sabu. Rewatched Sabu versus Mysterio the other day. Sick as fuck. Van Dam, Taz, you both played a major role in my life in helping me become the quintessential stud muffin I am today."
There you go.
Good.
There you go.
That's cool.
Yeah, Sabu versus Rey Mysterio. That was quite the match. Indeed.
Yeah, I'll always remember the top rope to the DDT through the table, right?
Yeah.
That whole show was great. ECW and number 2 was great. So proud of those shows. I tried to get Taz to wrestle, remember? And they were like,
yes.
"Oh, my back, I'm done. My pussy and my crack." So I'm like,
my back. Yeah, my
yeah, that was great. And I was gonna say, Gertner, speaking of the quincentennial, how do you say that word?
Quintessential.
Yeah, Taz got it. He's got it.
I speak for a living, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you do a little bit of that.
But I was just thinking, man, he got so much heat for being so good. That's just the locker room mentality, the way it is.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he was a heat magnet, brother. But backstage, I'm talking about. But he's a good guy.
From the outside,
he did. Yeah. Rob, I saw him, dude. Like he was at an AEW show, and he came backstage. I don't remember what town we were in though. About a year ago. He looks great, man.
Yeah.
Like he cut some. Yeah, he looks really good. I wish I could remember where the hell we were, but yeah, he looked a little bit older, which was weird. But he looked good. He looked pretty good. He did.
Yeah. He slimmed down quite a bit. He did.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Cool.
A couple more super chats here. Josh Kelly says Sabu dressed in orange and black, called Taz a midget on the mic, and then put Fonzie through a table at the ECW arena going into the first paper. Holy smokes.
Well, he called me the M word, and we're probably the same fucking height. Sabu knows that. Come on. Yeah, but that was Sabu. Like I like that's his sense of humor, dude. He called me a lot. He called me a lot of names, and it just made me laugh. Like it's just, dude, we were working so much. We were working a lot, all of us, and especially once it started kicking in with pay-per-view. Rob knows this. Like you're around each other all the time. So not everything is rainbows and butterflies every day, like there's some tension sometimes, but it's okay. At the end of the day, as long as, I mean, shit. I mean, it's business, right?
It was fun time, so wasn't it?
It was, man. It was. I mean, like it just, I mean, I missed that. I mean, like Rob, I had the opportunity to wrestle for a lot of places, and there was nothing like ECW, like nothing. Like it just can't. And I think that a lot. Yeah, I mean, some of us maybe don't get along. Not that we have heat, but maybe we're not as close. But at the end of the day, we still are a brotherhood. Because we know how we knew it was lightning in a bottle, and no one, many many companies have tried to do what ECW did and replicate it years later. Uh, and there's been some great wrestling companies that have done stuff like similar to us. And
Mhm.
people would think that we were just blood and guts and death matches, and that's fucking bullshit.
Yeah,
That's not what ECW. ECW, like I said earlier, was a potpourri of many things. It was
absolutely.
at the end of the day, it was an entertaining show, a variety show with all sorts of different crazy shit, fun shit, kind of sexy shit too. Sometimes, like just a little bit of everything. And that's what Paul was just amazing with. He had a good vision on stuff.
Absolutely. He highlighted what was great about you guys, and then on top of it too, live to the time. Like the times were changing, and like people were consuming different things in regards to getting edgier and things like that, and it was part of that culture for sure.
Yeah, and back to Sabu. I
Mhm.
I really feel I don't give a shit like what Hall of Fame it is. Any
Oh,
professional wrestling Hall of Fame, that man belongs in it. I don't care. I don't from WWE's Hall of Fame to everything else. I know there's all. I'm not in any Hall of Fames, and that's fine by me. I don't. I sleep well at night, and I'm proud of what I've done. But I know this much: Sabu needs to be recognized for what he did, and I wish it would have happened while he was alive.
yeah.
In Philadelphia last year, he belonged going in there. In
Mhm.
my opinion. But I don't work for WWE, so that's cool. Whatever. I'm glad you're in there, Rob. That's well deserved, obviously. You know what I mean? But like, I really feel like Sabu should have went in that damn thing in Philly. You
Yeah,
know, but
I'm with you,
you know,
Taz. With you.
we'll see what happens. But he belongs in every Hall of Fame. That guy had an amazing career all over the world, and he
And yeah,
inspired and was an innovator for so many generations up until now of wrestlers. You know what I mean? So we're AEW. We're doing a residency of a bunch of shows at the ECW arena.
Oh,
I,
that's
I don't
right.
call it. Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't call it. I don't call it 2300 shit. That's the ECW arena.
yeah,
And so I'm sure there's going to be a lot of talk about Sabu at that show. At someone because we're there for shit. I think 6 shows. You know what I mean?
oh my gosh, yeah.
So I think it's like 3 Dynamites and 3 Collisions. I think that's what it is. I don't remember exactly. But
Yeah, it's
yeah,
like
so
7 dates, I
yeah.
think.
I thought it was gonna be like a full-time thing.
No, I think it's just like I believe it's from the end of the summer into the fall. That's what I think it is.
It's like August, mid-August, I think it's going down in it.
I
Yeah,
think
I
it
think you're
is.
right.
Yeah.
I think it maybe
Yeah.
floats into September too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. So I think Sabu will be brought up and he should be, I mean, in that building. I mean, so like, yeah.
Absolutely.
Maybe they'll want me to come and say something about him. I certainly would.
Yeah.
Oh
I
yeah.
think that would be awesome. And you know what I mean? Why,
An
of
invite?
course. What, bro, I don't have that kind of clout. You know, you know me. I shit. If I had the book, you'd be at every show, and my son would be the world champion.
Well, TK is a big fan of both Rob and Sabu. I know with the stretcher match.
Yeah,
I'm sure you heard about that. He was there for that, right?
yeah. I heard that. Right? Yeah. Did Tony tell you that, Rob? When you guys talked about it?
Yeah, I remember we talked about it. I don't remember exactly what we said, but yeah.
I think I spotted him in the crowd actually, Taz, because there was a guy that looked like his dad, and beside him was a little kid with an orange shirt on. I was like, I think that's Tony Khan.
Yeah,
But
it was Tony. He was wearing one of my shirts,
Yeah.
and that was
Oh,
the
yeah.
same show, Rob. Rob, that was the show I think where Dr. Death was there. I did something with Dr.
Right.
Death on that
Oh,
show. I don't remember what it was.
Doctor's in the house. Maybe.
That's the one. It might have been Brian Lee and me. It was Dreamer, Brian Lee. I don't remember the fuck. It was a tag, I think. Brian Lee remember Brian Lee, right? He
Of
was
course.
involved. Yeah. And I know Dr. Death gave me that Dr. Bomb gimmick. I never had someone lift me up with like jack me up in the air, like with ease.
Yeah.
I tried to give a little help. No, I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah.
This guy was a monster, bro. He was an animal. He was
Yeah.
an animal. He was strong as fuck. Yeah.
Boomer Sooner, man.
Yeah. He's strong as hell.
Yeah.
We have one more.
Good dude, too. Good dude.
Yeah.
Dr. Death. They're all together now.
Yes, sir. They are.
We'll run through these super chats real quick. M3 Vigoro Ruler Thanks for the $5. 2001 was my senior in high school. Got in trouble for wearing my RVD 420. I just smoked your ass shirt. Rest in peace, Sabu. So
I designed it.
Designed it.
Awesome. See, that's so cool.
Wow.
I remember talking to Rob. I remember talking to you about it. Like, I don't know if it was about the yin yang or to smoke your ass. I know we talked about it before I did it. You know, and one more thing on shirts. Speaking of Sabu,
Okay.
I spelled something wrong. I don't know if it was homicidal, genocidal, or suicide. Something when I designed that. I know you're laughing already, Rob. I see you smiling away.
It's just funny already.
No, bro, because it was an accident. Again, New York City public school
Oh, and
system.
he said you did it on purpose, right?
And Sabu thought like I was ribbing him, and fans thought that. Like, no, Paul's like, well, I just spell it wrong because I can't fucking spell. And there was no Google. There was no Google in 1997.
No, man. Yeah, dang it. Hey, I've done plenty of spelling errors in my dirt sheet writing days, so
There you go.
I empathize. Blaze the Bingo Hall. Hey, an appropriate name. $5. Rob, was Sandman's spot at Sabu's last match supposed to be you if you didn't get injured at MLW, or were you supposed to have any involvement in it?
Never talked about it.
Oh, how about
Yeah,
that?
never talked about it. There were, we'd have to visit an alternate universe where I didn't break my feet and see what would happen.
Yeah.
I wish I would have went now, but.
Yeah.
We were talking about it last night, and I wish I would have went, but I don't regret it in the way that, of course, given the circumstances, I was not going to go anywhere. I didn't have to go being rolled around in a wheelchair, especially at a wrestling show, and have all the fans see me being wheeled around more than I had to. And I'm at the mercy of her wheeling me, pushing it when I can't walk. So because of that, otherwise I would have at least gone and watched it. And then there's no telling, if I would have. There's just no knowing.
No.
I didn't have any.
Rob, what's going? I didn't know. I didn't notice about your feet, your heels. What's going on?
Yeah,
with your feet?
I wasn't gonna bring it up, but it's not about me. But yeah, I broke both of my heels in a wrestling match on April 5th. So like 5 weeks into it and dealing with it. But I went around, I had like obligations WrestleCon weekend at the WrestleCon convention, at the Nerd Bar, at Planet 13 out here, and at WWE Fanatics. And anyway, me and Katie made all of those appearances, but but I didn't go. I said Planet 13, yeah, but I didn't go out. I didn't go to any of the fun stuff or volunteer stuff afterwards. And the whole time I was sitting at a table, so most people didn't make.
They didn't know.
Yeah, they didn't know, or if they did know, everyone was just like, "Man, heal up." Nobody made a big deal about it. Which
was it a bump? Like, how did you took a?
Yeah, off the top rope down to the floor.
Oh, and I see. Yeah.
Usually, the guardrail kind of catches me, and really. I guess I was just complacent. Like I never once even looked to see how far the guardrail was or whatever. I just kind of assumed it's going to be there, just comfortable, with the thing. And my feet weren't ready to catch me, but I didn't get the guardrail, and instead like crack and yeah. So I just spilled heroin all over.
Oh, not the heroin.
All right, guys. Here goes another
black tar.
Yeah, here goes another 8. So
Man.
You've proved your point. You've proved your point, sir.
You got it.
That's what I was waiting for. Thank you.
Okay.
So now wait, that's 8 times the I think the recommended dosage amount. So but maybe if I take heroin all the time, my sensors are dirty.
Man. Hey, here's a question from Frankie Turizo, $2. What's your craziest spot with Sabu, both guys? Do you remember a craziest spot?
A lot of them. Oh.
Right.
Like spot he did a chair, springboard off the chair. I was on a table in the corner. No, that was a different spot. There was one where he would put the Rob might know the spot better than me. He would put the table like kitty corner, like by the guardrails on the outside, like behind the ring post. So the table would go across. So it was sturdy. And then you'd be on top of the table. He would go off of the top turnbuckle. And I don't know if it was a leg drop or like a double axe handle, but holy shit, it hurt like a motherfucker. I mean, because it was like all his weight and he would take care of you, he was a pro, but
Yeah.
sometimes with that type of shit, and then the guardrails didn't give as much as they should have. So the table didn't break as much, which is not fun when the table don't break. It's not good. So yeah, that was probably off the corner with the tables, probably, yeah.
Ooh. How about you,
Yeah,
Rob?
I guess, I remember the stretcher match at the time was my favorite because we were doing stuff I'd never done before, taking the bump on the stretcher, but there was a time not long after this match because I was still new-ish, I was on my heel run after working with Sabu, or still working with him actually, obviously, but he gave me this move that was a fisherman buster, but it was like off the ropes.
Oh.
Yeah. And I don't know, he got it in Japan, I guess, or whatever. And I did it to him. Maybe it's in this match. It's in one of them. He's on the top, I guess, or I'd probably stop him, and I'm on the second, I think. But it's like a fisherman, but it's a brain buster, and I completely knocked him out. And he's out. Yes, matter of fact, one of these matches, he's stiff as a board. I go to hook his leg, and he's zombied out.
No shit. Wow.
Yeah. It's one of these matches here, like one of these really popular. That was careless. It might have been this match. I can't remember how this ends. If it's a stretcher match, then a pinfall isn't the way to win.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, you don't.
Doesn't matter.
Probably not this match because I hooked the guy's leg and he was stiff, and then afterwards, he I don't know really, if I should keep that move. That's kind of dangerous. And no, you'll get it. You just gotta learn, to like you'll learn to pull in a little more or something. I only remember doing it one other time. It was to Hack Myers. Remember that guy?
Yeah, he's a big boy hack. Yeah.
And I think it was at Lulu Temple.
Yeah.
One of those places, and bam, and I killed him with it too. And I just threw that out. I said, nah, that's not a good. I'll come up with something else if I need a heel move or something. But brutal. I think those are the other two times I did it, and I just killed both of them.
Damn.
Well, you never did that to me. Shit.
All right. Jeez, oh man.
Me too.
Holy smokes. We'll close out with a couple more super chats here. Mr. Premium 2002, thanks for the $20. I had the pleasure of meeting Sabu during Mania 40 weekend at WrestleCon as well as RVD. I got the impression he wasn't feeling too well when I spoke with him, but could see his strong spirit. Condolences on his passing. Thanks, Mr. Premium. Appreciate it.
Yeah, it's crazy looking back and seeing, like some signs that he was, because talking to him, it's just like, all right, cool, man. Have a good night. We'll together this week, and then maybe Sabu's not really feeling real good tonight. I don't know. Maybe he's put on a little weight. Well, maybe he's happy with that new girlfriend. Looking at him now and putting everything together. And the bloody feet is something too. He had some kind of infection or something.
Yeah.
But we don't. Yeah, when we get the toxology report, then we will learn a lot more that we don't know.
Yeah.
But there could be a little bit. There could be a little bit of a delay. You're saying, right? On this?
Yeah.
As far as something getting him, you mean?
No, I mean, like the information, getting the information, the official word. I'm saying
it's definitely a delay because he told me he has the She has to sign some papers, and if not, there's like a 30-day wait, and then it goes on to like Sabu's sister, and then so we're hoping that we'll get some cooperation from her, and I get it that she doesn't want to. Who she could be married to somebody else, and this
right
your past, whatever. But I've always been in her corner because she was the most patient wife, and she tried so many times to get Sabu to not, go down this destructive partying path that he was on, and I'll tell you, me, Sabu, and Louis all were on this kick where we love those muscle relaxer somas. Louis Spicoli passed away. As ignorant as it sounds, I was naive to that possibility. I didn't know that could actually fucking happen. I stopped taking the Sabu. Did not. That was like 97, 98.
Rob, I don't know if you remember, I talked to you at the ECW arena upstairs after Louis passed. I pulled you aside, and we weren't like buddies, but we had no heat. And I was like saying, I'm paraphrasing, but I don't know if you remember this. I was like, dude, you got to, be careful. And I felt weird to say that to you because I just didn't want to see, all of our co-workers, friends, and everything. There was all this shit going on. And I don't remember that, but and you were telling me, no, I smoke weed, man. I stopped all that. I remember you saying, I'm like, well, thank God, good. And then I walked away. I'm like, now you're gonna laugh. I'm like, man, does this kid not realize that weed's gonna kill him? I was never a weed guy. I didn't know. Back then, if you didn't know, it was like, oh my God, it's gonna kill him. You know what I mean?
Reefer Madness.
Well,
I
that's
didn't
just
know.
worry about it.
Yeah.
Care.
But that's what I use. I use that time period as an example a lot of times when I talk about my inspiration to become an advocate. I was like, back in those days, everybody thought that weed was going to kill you and that cigarettes was safe.
Yeah, I know. I'm telling Rob about weed, and I'm sitting there back there with my lip full of skull in Copenhagen. Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, yeah, shit's bad for you, Rob. You should be
real bad.
Hacking my fucking lip like every day, Now, know what I dip now? I dip these canna dips. This is like, it's CBD.
Nice.
Oh, is that what you're doing?
Yeah, because I don't chew tobacco anymore. I miss it, but it's addicting. But there's no THC in this one. There's no THC. They sell them with THC, but I like the ones just CBD. It doesn't. I don't get shit from the CBD, to be honest with you. It just makes me feel like I'm dipping tobacco. It builds up a little spit. It just helps me with my habit,
Yeah. That's a good thing. That's a cool thing to do, actually.
It's really good. Yeah.
Hell yeah. We'll do some more super chats and then we'll close on out. Right. Is there a Sabu Waffle House story?
Oh my God!
Wow, shit. I have one. I can't say it, but yeah. Rob might have been with this. All right, look, this is an Amarillo, Rob. One of Terry Funk's many retirement shows, but we were there together, as you know. Candido, me, you, I think Sandman, Dreamer, and Sabu. I think, and Bret Hart was on the show. I think. Yeah, there's a Waffle House story. I'm not telling it. Because Sabu cracked somebody, and it's someone people would know. So I don't want. And Sabu got mad at this fucking guy. I'll text Rob later. He might have heard about it. Rob was there, but he wasn't at the Waffle House, but he was in Amarillo.
I can't draw one up, man. I mean, there must have been several, but I can't put Sabu and Waffle House in my mind right now. Sorry.
Any good Philly diner stories?
Yeah. Well, Rob, were you at that travel? You were at the travel lodge, when we were still at the travel lodge, when you came in,
Yep. And definitely, we would go to the Oregon diner.
I remember that, the Oregon diner.
Yeah.
Once we moved to the Holiday Inn, we used Tony Luke's a lot more.
Tony Luke's, yep.
Still go, even though it's been sold. Or?
No, I don't think so. I don't. Maybe, but I don't think so. I don't know.
I think they merged with Nick's Roast Beef. I might be wrong on that.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, maybe you're right.
They might have merged.
The owners went to jail, like.
Oh shit!
Like, what'd you say?
I said shocking.
Oh. Anyway, yeah. I want to try Joey Merlino's cheesesteaks next time I'm in town. And I've been to that place too, but it was a different owner then. But Sabu, man, I know when he had his Winnebago, like the more self-sufficient he could be, the more he liked it. So like he told me he would cook in the kitchen, and sometimes we would have like meals in there, and that stands out more than really even going into restaurants with him. And we used to go to the Denny's in Pittsburgh, the one it's by the airport.
By the airport.
Yeah, Moon Township.
Yeah, by the airport.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, totally. And that was a place I just remember during the Soma days, me and Louie and Sabu being there and ordering sweet stuff because the sugar and the carbs helps kick the Somas in. And it'd be like a race to see who could shake first. So we'd all put our hands up and we'd have Pee Wee. We'd say, check our hands, ref. Check our hands. He could
check our hands, ref.
Oh yeah. It was so stupid. And I'm pretty sure one of us, would be like this, and and he'd be like, "Oh, we got a winner," and
you got to raise his hand.
And then pretty soon be like, "Oh, he's got the shaky puddings. It's not. Can I get another whipped cream pie?" So stupid.
Andrew adds thanks for $25, Andrew. Really appreciate it. I'm super chatting this again. My favorite picture of Sabu is him wearing a Misfits shirt. Sabu enjoying the Misfits makes me happy. R.I.P. Punk Rock Jones.
Nice
stuff, Andrew.
You like music? Yeah, you like music. I remember early on knowing that was more prevalent, but like when I was still learning about him and training with him, I remember that, I couldn't carry a conversation about music any more than I can about race cars or baseball. I don't know.
Or the Mets. Not the Mets.
I already that. I was ahead of you. Baseball Mets.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah. Harry Slash. I just want to thank Rob and Taz for doing the show. How about that?
Hey, that's the real Harry Slash.
I wonder if it is.
It probably is. I don't know. Either way, thanks to Harry Slash.
Yes, yeah. Harry. Yes.
Heck yeah. Shout out to Harry for sure. And then Ask Bum says, love seeing RVD and Taz together. And then he follows up, Taz, how many black belts do you have? I heard 3.
I have 17 black belts. I'm a grand champion.
No shit.
Universal champion.
You had me going.
Rob's a higher level martial artist than me, I believe.
All right. Yes. Somebody did ask on a previous show, Taz, how much martial arts background do you have in judo, obviously, but
I just played judo. Yeah, I wrestled in high school, but I played judo when I was young. And then I took a little time off. And then once I started to break into the business, I got back into judo and played competitive judo and stuff like that. So
okay.
Yeah.
All right. We'll close it out with this one here. And if you guys want to give any final thoughts, by all means, but Stay Guilty just asked this one for the $5. I don't know if this was asked, but how did it feel main eventing Barry Legal with Sabu?
It's amazing. We were a little nervous because we really didn't have a lot of experience doing live TV. And this is a live pay-per-view, and we didn't go last. So we thought we were going to go last, but we weren't. But a little backstory on that. I'm sure Rob might know this. And this might go to the story you told Rob about. We were driving around in the car, and I'm like, see these fucking jabronis. Imagine if they knew who was in this car. So that's part of what I said. That was here on Long Island because a lot of people don't know. Even some of the boys didn't know. Like Sabu came to New York the week before that pay-per-view. Because, and back then, no one practiced matches, but we were a little concerned about hitting the time, because we didn't know if we were going to be last. But if we're going to be last, we want to be ready. We wanted this match had so much hype. Like Rob was saying, it took a year to get to it, and it was all this anticipation. And Sabu and I were cognizant, and we were aware that, there's a lot of pressure on us, and there's no way this match is going to be good enough for the hype that it has. No matter how good the match is, it's just not going to reach that hype. So we wanted to be the best we could. So I said, dude, if you want, we have the dojo on Long Island, man. If you want to come, he's like, yeah, fuck. And then he came to New York, and he stayed at a hotel not far from where the school was. And I said, don't rent a car. I'll drive wherever we got to go. And we spent more time together outside of work. I got to know him better, get to know me. We shared a lot of meals together and just going to the gym together and shit like that. And, I really got to know him all the years that I knew him. But now I'm actually Rob had a lot more of that time with Sabu than I did because Rob broke in with Sabu and Sheik, and they're from the same part of the country. So they were right near each other. I didn't do that with Sabu. but barely legal going into it. Yeah, we did. We spent a week in New York and we did everything together. So it was, so that was awesome to wrestle him on that big stage for us at that time. Rob didn't have a match on that, which I thought was not cool. I thought Rob should have had a match, but he had a great spot coming in on that run in, and then there was a good swerve with Fonzie and stuff on me. I thought that all worked.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, really good stuff. One of my somebody did ask us, Scott Mason from the New York Jets podcast. He happened to ask, what was the plan behind, like, Rob, you almost having Fonzie's ear in certain ways in that storyline coming into play, like with Taz. Was that something that was who planned that exactly? Do you remember that aspect of it all in the feud? Do you kind of know what I'm talking about? Or hold on, I can follow it up with this. Let's see if this is.
You mean are you talking about when Rob ran in at the end of the match?
So it's let me see here. This is what he had to say. Always thought part of the Sabu Taz storyline where Fonzie, on behalf of Taz, fed RVD inside info to beat Sabu was a brilliant wrinkle. That's what it was. Whose idea was that? And you agree it added a lot to the story. Do you remember that aspect of it?
It wasn't my idea. It was probably Paul. Unless Rob, do you have something to do with that? I have no idea. It wasn't my idea. I thought it was a great idea. I thought it worked, but was that you? I don't know.
I don't remember. That was too
I don't
long.
remember either.
I was just thinking, though, I probably should have mentioned this a lot earlier in the show. I get asked a lot by everyone, including my mom, is there going to be a GoFundMe for Sabu to help with the funeral arrangements? And the family was debating on it, and we are putting one together. And Dom, you think it's safe to say tomorrow it'll be up?
Oh yeah, it should be ready to go. Yeah, it should be ready to go tomorrow.
And then we'll just post it on. So you'll know because we're gonna post it. We'll
share it out. I'll be sure to put the link when I post the episode again. And then obviously we'll share it out on social media and everything. I know
I'll share it on my social also, obviously.
Absolutely.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. I want a hat tip to Conrad for coming up with the idea and kind of getting the ball rolling with everything for that. Conrad Thompson, shout out to him too. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's and that's what's been a really cool aspect about this all is bringing people together and seeing what everybody's had to say about Sabu, the videos being shared, the clips and everything like that. So obviously I want to give both of you guys the opportunity to say what you want to say regarding Sabu. And I know, Taz, you said some beautiful words on Dynamite and stuff, but if there's anything else you guys want to add, for sure.
Yeah, no, I said what I had to say. I'm going to miss and love Sabu and forever grateful to him. This is Rob's shows. Rob was his best friend. These guys were like brothers. So, I mean, I could bail out, Rob, if you want to do this on your own. I don't need to be here if you don't want. If you're cool, whatever you want to do, man.
No, I think it's been a long show. I think Dom's getting ready to close us out. So you're here for the finish. When we do actually Powder, I'm going to play this song. And it's not an emotional song, so it sounds like this thing I wrote about my brother. It's actually it's just a really good Sabu song, and I don't know if you're going to be able to put it at the beginning of the show for replay, or if anyone even watches the replay.
I can definitely do it, yeah, for the beginning of the show.
So Cushionator, my friend that does the Rob Van Dam song that I came out to TNA to. He's a big wrestling fan. He did a bunch of songs. He did one for Chris Masters, one for John Hennigan. I'm trying to remember if he did one for you, Taz.
I don't know. Yeah. Maybe. I'm not sure.
Some of them he did, and he was always, and then he would ask me, "Can you reach out to so and so and tell them, they can use my song if they want on the way to the ring?" And
that's cool.
Some of them never did. I don't think John Hennigan ever did, but it was a really cool song. And anyway, I really liked the one he did for Sabu. If Sabu ever used it, then I'm not sure when it was, but I do know that Sabu had a couple other people at the same time, making songs for him and giving to him or whatever. So I think he went with something else, but I do want to play us out with that. So I'm going to.
Yeah, it sounds good.
Hell yeah.
Do we got any more?
That's it for the super chats. Thanks everybody for doing that and helping contribute and everything. And Taz, thanks for being so gracious with your time too. It's
Of course,
just amazing.
anytime. It's
Thanks,
great.
Taz. Enjoyed the convo. Would
Yeah.
love to have you on sometime and talk about your career if you're interested. I don't think
Anytime, Rob. You know, we're boys. You know that. Anytime. It's great talking to you, Katie. Obviously, Dom. Obviously, whatever you guys want me, I'm here. No problem.
Really appreciate it, Taz.
Yeah, one other thing about Sabu is he left school when he was pretty young, and he didn't really read and write too good. So those of us that know him, that would get messages from him, text messages, know that he would kind of have like his own version of broken up English.
It's a little different. Yeah, a little different.
Yes.
Yeah. And the reason I mentioned that is part of the way stories he's going to be remembered by that really weren't even him. I heard Jim Cornette talking about that he texted Sabu, hey, if you want to talk, hit me back or whatever. And he said that Sabu texted back, Sabu, 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 Sabu. And that's going to go down in history, and it's funny, but knowing Sabu, he didn't write that. I think I remember when that was his like letterhead or something. Like I've gotten a few like that around that time where like Jeannie was helping him, with a lot of things, but one of them would be using his phone. And sometimes there's like a letterhead you can use so you can sign off and it's got all the info you want on it and for professional purposes. I think it was something like that. I could scroll back probably and find it, but I remember, that was like his signature thing just for a second. But they're going to think he actually wrote that. And Sabu couldn't spell his name right 4 times in a row. So I promise it wasn't manually done unintentionally. It's funny as it is, but yeah. Cool. All right, and Katie, what'd you think when you met Sabu?
I've met Sabu before I even met Rob.
Really?
Taz Wrestling in New Orleans. There was an X-rated show, so the show was like built around me. But then also Luke Hawx is a ECW fan, and so he brought in Sabu. And if Luke said someone was good, they're good. And I met him, and he was with Jeannie, and I really loved their relationship. They were just so close, like they were just like in a huddle, like talking to each other, just very, very close. And so I like Rob respected his like the way he acted in relationships. I was like, that's so sweet how they were together when I had met them. And then I first saw Rob, he was talking to them at the wrestling convention. And what else? I had fun traveling with them. We traveled in Australia together, toured together with them.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's great.
Yeah. And I got closer to Sabu too when he moved to Vegas, because we would just randomly out, and then like I was skating in the Pride Parade, and then I was like, oh, there's Sabu. He was just like posted up on Fremont Street, and we're at the marijuana convention. I'm like, there's Sabu. But it was just came every time we go out at any event, it'd be like, oh, there's Sabu, like Nerd Bar, of course.
Yeah.
So then I got a lot closer to him then, because it was like having, seeing a family member all the time.
Yeah. How far apart was Sabu from where you guys live? Like how far? Close or?
Nothing's really far in Las Vegas.
Yeah, in Vegas, that's true. It's kind of tight. Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah, that's true.
Great. That's very cool. I didn't know that too, Katie, that you knew him before you met him before you met Rob. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's wild. I didn't know that either.
His sense of humor is so funny.
Yeah,
I love
the best.
Like that. Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm really happy that I was part of this and got to honor him with you guys, and it's a pleasure to be able to do this with you guys. Rob, might not have known this, but it's been 2 years to the day since we started the podcast. So.
Yay! Happy anniversary!
Congratulations! Happy anniversary! Look at that. That's awesome.
So, did not know that. I wasn't aware.
That's amazing.
Pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Awesome. Well, should I close this out then?
Close us out, Rob.
All right. Well, appreciate it, everybody. And I will not be let me put it this way. I won't stop talking about Sabu because he is a big part of my life. And so, but having said that, it was nice to be able to just focus and share a lot, especially because I know everyone listening to this must have learned that what they thought was true probably a couple of times or something might not quite have been. So glad to set everybody straight. That's the real Sabu. We knew him like no one else. Love you, brother. He knows that. This is Sabu by Cushionator. I guess that is how it starts out. Can you hear it?
Oh yeah.
Sabu, Sabu, Sabu.
All right. Good stuff, guys.
That's awesome.
Yep. We'll see you fellas. Rob, thanks for doing this, guys. We will see you next time here on One of a
Sorry
Kind.
for being all heroined out.
There's too much heroin down.
Yeah, thanks for the heads up, Dutch. No, but thank you, everybody. Thanks, Van Dam fam. Thanks, Taz.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dominator.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys.
Yes, it's been good stuff. So see you next time here on One of a Kind, everybody. Thank you, everyone. God bless Sabu.
Thank you.